This Meditainment production is brought to you today by the Samurai Aquatics and Decor Metaventure. Scan that QR code or click that link in the description and dive yourself headfirst into the Samurai Aquatics Discord server to pleasure your peepers on our current and future range of outdoor decor.
The Whine and Cheese Show is a Metaverse and NFT discussion and interview series brought to you by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment and host BEN68 and Morecheese. Warning: the information and opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved and contains content not suitable for anyone.
G'day and thanks for listening to or watching the Whine and Cheese and the Metaverses Show. I'm BEN68 here with my co-host Morecheese for episode 65, recording on Friday the 30th of December for Cheese, which is Saturday and New Year's Eve for me.
Today we talked about a bunch of Upland Chisel, as usual, with our co-host Goldsmith, and had our year in review of the many articles that stood out during the year of 2022.
Oh, yeah. It did too. And it's a long one, so 2x speed, everybody. And yes, 2022 was one hell of a year, and we thank you for your ongoing support. 2023 is setting up to be even bigger, so happy MFing New Year from
the Whine and Cheese, worst show ever. Woo, woo, woo.
Whine and cheese. Time for wine and cheese. Wine and cheese. Time for wine and cheese. Cheese. One is a wanker, one's like its tongues. One's from Australia, one's from the Bronx. Talking about the Metaverse and NFTs. Interviewing all the real crypto G's.
Hello and welcome to the Whine and Cheese and the Metaverses Show. I'm Morecheese here with BEN68, and we have the Goldsmith here. This is episode 65.
Yes, last show ever.
Staying alive. Come on, Ben. Jesus. Just once. Last show ever. So make sure we have to do this good.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's
going to be a big one. So
a big one.
2x speed, people. 2x speed.
2x speed, people.
Or if you're on Spotify, 3.5. I like to go. That's probably my limit.
Spotify. Hi, Goldie. How you doing?
You gonna encourage people to go 3.5 times speed, and I get yelled at for talking fast enough as it is?
Yes. I don't listen to it on that amount of speed. Yeah, I yell at Goldie because he talks too fast. My brain doesn't work normal. I like to hear things, so I do it on the slow mode. But Ben and Goldie are much more intelligent than I am and can grasp words quicker, I'll say.
That's a lot of fun too. Put it on half speed and it sounds like we're drunk as shit. Hilarious.
Well, if you put it on 3x speed, I probably sound like a fucking chickmunk.
You do. Yes.
Yeah.
The best one is to listen to Zoe Wedgecloud laugh. She's got a machine gun laugh as it is. Listen to that at 3x speed. Yes. Old mate Zoe.
I definitely agree with that.
So I'd just like to kick off first. I just want to thank, I'm going to give massive shout outs to Morecheese for a hell of a year. We do 2 long form podcasts every week, and, there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that nobody sees. Between the two of us, how many burnouts have we both had through the year, with in real life stuff and everything else. But, we just keep grinding away. So it's been a hell of a lot of fun. So props to you, Cheese.
Props to you, Ben. Without you, I'd be staring at my wall.
As long as you're not headbutting it or smearing shit on it, it's all good.
I've never tried the last 2, just the first.
Yes. Plenty of time yet.
So yeah, all right, we say that it's the last episode, but it's the last episode of 2022. We're still going to be going in 2023, so don't panic too much.
Oh, you had me shitting my pants for a minute when you started talking about the last episode. I was like, oh, God damn it.
So what's up, guys? Should we talk about where we were yesterday and on the Upland review
absolutely.
thing, the anniversary.
We're gonna do some casual spillage before we get in the real meat and potato spillage. So yes, absolutely. Maybe we could take a leaf out of the Upland team's book. And what was your highlight of 22 and all that sort of stuff? What are you looking forward to for 2023? Over to you, Goldie.
Oh, my highlight of 2022 happened right at the end, and that was getting my 2 cars finally. I mean, it's like that's the one thing I make the joke about all the time is, you know, if Upland is going to treat anyone fairly, it should be the people who like, you know, essentially lick their ass all the time or try to make them look good. And if they can't give me a car, then you know it's fair, you know, because otherwise I'd have 17. So I got 2 cars at the end of the year. You know, very excited about that. That's something I literally since they announced cars fall of 2021. So over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, really, because I think it was about the time that NFLPA was coming out. They said, yeah, we're going to do cars eventually. So when that was announced, I was waiting for my car. So a year and a half in the making to get a car. So that was my highlight. You want a low light or no?
Well, I
Yeah,
want to ask you
absolutely.
one question before you go into that. This is the worst show ever. There's no expectations. Is that why you're not on camera? Because you have poo all over your mouth? No.
Oh my God.
No, I mean, it's like I don't give the team anything. Like I didn't give the team anything to get anything. Obviously, none of us are going to expect that type of privilege. But it's like I'm always trying to look out for the best interest of the game. I think that a lot of us are. And it just doesn't get rewarded, and that's a fair thing. You know, it's fair that you don't get more just for being on the side of, you know, continuing to keep the game going. At the same time, I'm glad I freaking got 2 cars.
Absolutely. And I just want to say to her, I don't know if Cheese told you, but I said to her 3 or 4 days ago, I was like, I don't want a guest for this show. I just want it to be us because we got so much to go over. And she said, well, how about Goldsmith? And I was like, oh, well, that's perfect. And that just goes to show that you fit in perfectly. So yes, thanks for jumping on for the last one.
No, I appreciate it. And like I said, I'm not a guest. I'm just here bantering with you guys.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
We love you, Goldie.
So what was your low light?
Can I say NFLPA? No, I mean, I'd say there's some of the rollouts of those legits, right? We're told we're gonna get XYZ is gonna come in later. Wait your 6 months, buy them today because you're gonna have more utility in 6 months. 6 months later, I still don't have signatures. I still don't have replicas, and I haven't sold out. But you know, I've definitely held on, and I'm looking forward to some of those things coming through. I do understand that they were able to push spotlights on the FIFA contract, which they still haven't done with NFL. They had told us in the NFLPA we were going to get spotlights eventually. So I see that partnership as being different from other partnerships, but I also see it as, you know, potentially lagging from where we thought it was going to be a year and a half in.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot of crossover in 2023, hopefully. Like a lot of the stuff that they pioneered for FIFA will, you know, it'll feed back to the NFLPA. Well, you'd like to think so anyway.
I expect Argentina to take the reins from FIFA and take the reins from you know, the NFLPA contract, and anything that's been done in either of those is probably going to be fair game for the Argentina Football League.
Interesting. How about you, Cheese? Highlights, lowlights?
Highlights, I'd have to say, first and foremost, the Vegas trip, the Genesis week, meeting everybody. I wish I could have met more people, but you know, it's not easy. People are all over the world. Let's see, the FIFA being announced, that was big. Gala Games being announced. There's so many things. Like this year was freaking crazy with announcements and events and new things coming out. Like it was dizzying, to be honest. And like, I know they messed up on a lot of things, but at the same time, I think they were just trying to kind of get everything out at once. I'm sure that the NFLPA is going to pick up, definitely. And those that did invest into it will be rewarded. But I just think they just needed to get everything out that they got out and then hopefully in the new year things are going to run more smoothly. But you like it's in beta. That's a good drinking game, and instead of the fucks and shits, like if you took a shot by every time Cheese said it's in beta, you'd be just as drunk.
Oh, I was gonna do that every time. That's Upland's answer to when am I getting my car that flies through the air, and when can I have 3 apartments in my house, and like rent them out. Oh, we're in beta. Okay, take a shot of Goldschlager, see what happens.
But as long as it's promised, I'll take their word for it. They haven't really done anything too big of a mistake to have me say, oh, screw them or whatever. I'm still and I know everybody in here is the same. I'm not saying it's not. We're very much pro Upland. And I'm so excited. I'm excited for the new year. Like, I'm excited to have more things to look forward to. I mean, I have a lot of NFLPA stuff too, and I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be great when they finally do come out with that stuff, to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I never call it like the NFLPA. I never call anything Upland does a rug pull. It's just like they put stuff out there. They tell you there's going to be future utility, and it takes time to get there. And I'll buy that because I've seen it happen.
Yeah, it's not a rug pull. It's a squirrel shot. Their focus has just been diverted.
I can understand that.
Another shiny thing. I'll just pull up the list of crap that we went through for the UDU podcast that took me hours to put together. We're not going to go through it all, obviously, because when we went through it all on the show, I ended up being late for work, and my wife had to drop my laptop off and all sorts of stuff because it took so long. Just for the purposes of this, I'd just like to touch on what they've got listed for Q1. So, property management tools, immersive experiences, UNFT bundles, onboarding overhaul, 3D avatars, neighborhood ratings, structure ornaments, Ethereum bridge, cars as transportation, passengers and cargo. That's a lot for like the first quarter. And that's not everything. Those are just the ones that stood out to me as important. There was a whole bunch of other stuff in there as well.
I mean, you missed Metaventures in there, bud. I mean, that's a big one for me anyways.
What do you mean?
The Decor Metaventures are technically on that list as well.
Yeah, maybe I've already got one, so it didn't.
I know.
Yeah. Which is still glitched. I mentioned it on the thing we did yesterday. Like, I got a message in game from Idan saying, "Hey, I want to buy one of those saunas." I'm like, "This showroom's completely glitched out, mate." But,
he's like, "I know people. I mean, know people." That was such a great answer, though.
Yeah, it was really funny. Yeah, I know some people that might be able to sort that out. And then I was thinking, "Oh shit, I hope I don't get them in trouble." So, yeah. That's all I wanted to say for that. So there's a lot of work there to do.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's so cool. Cars as transportation. How do you think that's going to go, Ben?
Well, that's what I said in last week's UDU podcast. It's why I'm not, like, you see a lot of the other decor shops, they're just piling up their inventory in their factory, like allotment in their area. Every time something finishes manufacturing in my factory, I airdrop it to as close to the showroom as possible. Ideally in the showroom, but it's glitched at the moment, so it's not working. So yeah, if you take a look along Aqua Vista Way, there's just crap loads of decor just piling up.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole idea of Midtown Terrace started, was all for that MetaVenture and to store all of those sort of decor items. So yeah, we know what Upland's like. We're going to get an announcement. I'll be like, hey, now transportation is a thing. So the airdrop feature of moving your decor items around,
it's gone.
That's just going to be gone in an instant. So if you're somebody who's bought decor, or you've stored all your decor on the East Coast or like Rio or somewhere, and then this drops and you want to transport it, well, it ain't going to be an airdrop situation. You're going to have to, planes, trains, and automobiles, as they say.
But aren't they're subdividing passenger and NFT transport? So
yes.
So we're going to get passenger first, and then the locking of the NFT transit. So it might be a little bit before that hits.
You never know, though. Yeah. They surprise us all the time.
Yes, I'm always about forward fuckery avoidance. That's my whole
thing. Do today what you can to avoid fuckery tomorrow.
Forward fuckery avoidance. That's a good
FFA.
Word.
FFA. Yeah.
FFA.
It's not FSA. It's FFA. Yes.
FFA. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the transportation thing, yeah, we know like it's going to change the way we mint cities. It's going to change the way people do treasure hunts and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, be
Well,
very
Yeah.
interesting to see.
If they drop my 2 cars and my assets, I could brag about them. But
Give
until
them
they
time, buddy.
hit,
It's the end of the year,
I know,
man.
I know.
Everyone's enjoying time with their family.
Absolutely. So yeah, everybody should think seriously about where they have their inventory. Like even if you're
Yes.
somebody that has multiple cars, maybe not pile them all into the same neighborhood. Maybe have one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. You know, think about these things.
Yeah, it's definitely time for me to take my truck and get it parked by my factory so I can be ready to move the stuff around. I think we already have to have those ideas happening, because it'll happen overnight, and then it'll be like, guess what? You can no longer get to this from your assets anymore.
Yep, absolutely. So,
I see those
yeah.
semi trucks going for like 3 to 4K.
They're nuts. They're nuts because they didn't put enough of them out there. I personally think they obviously looked at the scale, but for the fact that they're already expanding, and I don't know how they can already expand, but they're already going to expand manufacturing the first quarter of 2021 is what they've told us. They're already expanding manufacturing, and there's only a handful and a half of semis out there. They're not going to have enough semis to meet that demand. There's going to be enough people with holdouts who aren't going to push them to Decor owners, that there's going to be Decor owners who are sitting there without a semi, running 4 or 5 trucks back and forth.
This guy has a semi.
I was lucky enough to get one. Yeah. So
He was like, I don't know if I want to get it because it's not the right color. I'm like, fuck you, bet. You better fucking buy it.
yes. But yeah, I think that's all true. Absolutely. And yeah, well, we do know that a whole bunch of people just got approved to have their Decor showrooms up and running. So there'll be a whole bunch of those kicking off. And again, I'm getting DMs, hey, when can I get some more of your Decor? So it's going to be very interesting to see. Obviously, we're selling at our rate. It's going to be very interesting to see like what kind of rates they go for when they go through the middleman in the other Decor showrooms. So
Not much.
Wow.
Same as the all right. The way I'm picturing it is they'll get the same amount as what are they called? The Block Explorer shops, like 5%, at most 10%.
What I'm talking about is those Decor owners are going to buy inventory from our shop.
I get it. Yeah.
And then they're going to
Resellers.
list in their own shops for
Yeah.
whatever they want. They can
They'll
they can list
buy
it
it
for
from
whatever they
us
want.
for 5-10% discount and then sell it there for whatever they want to sell it for.
I mean, again, maybe that'll be part of it, but I think a lot of it is going to be people compete for the low mints once they have a low mint number 1, whatever, or buy something that's limited and then theoretically drop it back on the market. I think that's what a lot of people think they're going to do and make a profit within 3 months, rather than buying the Decor you want, being happy with it, and maybe changing it out later, which I think is the real use case of a secondary shop. Is, hey, I really love that pink flamingo. It's not summer anymore. Maybe I sell it so I can have money to buy that snowman. And I would see that as a real use case, but I think people are still buying Decor items like they're going to be a profit, like it's a limited NFT and they're going to take a, 2x bump when they sell it, which I don't think is the best way to look at it.
I can see that happening with our rare stuff, like our ultra rare stuff, which is fine, because if we only have 200 mint, definitely that's a big resell. But for our common stuff, like the main 10 items, we have 20 to 30,000 of these things.
But we can't produce them. That's the thing. See, the demand is 10x the supply more.
Do you not think that they're going to have that fixed by the time that the outdoor Decor showroom comes out? Like if that happens, then we're like, if we're able to kind of factory on demand, it would give us a chance to put out more rare stuff for the secondary showrooms to make a substantial profit, because they're not going to make a substantial profit on the commons. They're only going to be able to resell and make a great profit on the rares and the mythics and so on and so forth, as they should. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if the bottleneck is steep enough, though, like, for example, if I know I have to wait 3 weeks because Ben's out for 3 weeks, he's not going to hit up again, I could see somebody paying a 40% premium to buy it today rather than waiting 3 weeks for the next launch. And we all know that they're still selling competitively, so there's no guarantee you're going to get it. It's like those stupid gnomes. I mean, you could have tried 10 times. You don't have a freaking gnome. I don't have a freaking gnome. I've tried 10 times.
I want to know. Mesme talked me into it.
Yeah, well, we're doing, our last sale was mid-November, and we're not doing another sale until mid-January. That's assuming the showroom gets fixed up. So if we're only doing a sale every, 2 months, and within that sale we're doing less than 100 items, yeah, that's bugger all supply. Obviously, when we move into the larger factory, or into the large factory, that's going to help speed things up a bit. And we're also clearly, we're going to see, manufacturing for other Decor Metaventures open up soon, and that's going to change things completely. We're going to see, I would imagine there's going to be a lot of duplication and whatnot. So I don't know. I think it's all yet to play out.
What about like being able to use multiple factories? Would that come into factor? Like, because I almost have one done, you have multiple. D-Tech has one making in Chicago. I have a showroom in the Bronx, so like we have both coasts right there. I just need to make a factory over there as well, because my factory is in Oakland, closer to the San Francisco shop, to help out in that shop. Like, I just see a bigger market for the rare outdoor decor than the commons.
There's two aspects there. Like, yeah, I've got multiple factories, but once our large factory finishes, which finishes in a week, I don't even have enough spark at the moment to fill that. So unless there's third-party spark staking or there's a spark exchange, I could have 500 factories, but I can't fill them.
I think they're going to do that, because there's a lot of people that don't have 20 spark, that don't have 10 spark, that don't even have 5 spark. So it's not fair for them to be excluded from a meta venture because they just started. Everybody should have a chance, and like a spark exchange for the meta ventures outdoor decor just seems like the right thing to do.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Goldie.
No. I was just gonna say we didn't even have a spark sale this month. So even if you had the money in your pocket and you said. And you said, I want to get 6 spark, you didn't have that opportunity this month.
Yeah.
I think they're going to play around, and we've seen this with the gnomes again. Like, they were pumping out 5 gnomes every 3 hours. So their spark hour cost on that was minute compared to what we're up against with Decor manufacturing. So I think as the beta testers within the beta, I think we kind of got shafted on the spark hours, but that's just because they're still trying to figure it all out. So I think a way around that is to, greatly reduce the spark hour burden.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I think it's like 23 spark hours is what the gnomes are costing, and I know it's less than half of what most of your stuff costs to me.
Yeah,
but they're smaller, aren't they? The gnomes.
Yeah, if you look at who was it? Rob had one of the gnomes in front of our grill.
Yeah, that was so freaking cute.
Yeah, we still can't get our heads around the spark hours, because you look at one item and the spark hours is 65, and you look at another item and the spark hours is 20, but you can't really make sense of it. It doesn't appear to be it's not the materials, it's not the size. So I do think they're just playing around with the numbers.
Well, didn't they say that it has to do with the materials you use, which seems silly?
Yeah,
that's what they said.
That's what. Yeah,
but the numbers don't represent that.
They don't.
Yeah, it's like what do you think? We made this from some rare metal that we had to sit there and mine on the moon, or what?
Unobtainium or something. Yes. Yeah.
Unobtainium.
Well, we joke about that, we joke about that, but we were very careful in how we worded the description of some of our items because, you know, you don't want to say, okay, this is a concrete something or other, because that's going to think, oh, that's concrete. It's going to have more spark outcast. So yeah, we agonized over vocab.
So I'm going to make all my stuff out of grass and sand that I found in the front yard. It'll take like 1 spark hour.
Big bad wolf will come and huff and puff and blow your house down. Yes.
Oh my God. Imagine though, if they had like weather and like years down the line, they had like whether you had to bring your outdoor decor inside and like a storm would wear it down. I'm just thinking sim-like.
Well, that's all layer 2 stuff, isn't it? Godzilla's going to come through and smash you down.
What? Well, we're gonna have wear and use on cars. I mean, maybe that grill one day, you know, you've been using it for 3 years, thing explodes on you in a big fireball. You gotta get a new one.
You lose your eyebrows if you have eyebrows on your.
An NFT rat jumps out. Yeah.
No, I mean, we're getting 3D avatars this quarter, right? So
apparently.
So your 3D avatar is going to lose its eyebrows, and you're going to have to go to another decor store and buy fake eyebrows. Yeah,
I don't want fake. I want to lose my eyebrows. Did you see the eyebrows they put on my freaking Block Explorer?
Yeah, they contoured them. They're like, oh.
Yes.
They're big bushy rats on my face. They look like Gary Sandling eyebrows, if you know who that is. You remember the Gary Sandling show?
Yes.
This is the theme of the Gary show, the opening theme of the Gary show. Gary called me up and said if I could write the theme song, stop me anytime.
So yes, it was a hell of a 2022. We're up, we're down, we've been through all sorts of drama, you know, and we've survived it all, Cheese.
Survived it all, yeah. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. To me, it was a plus.
Yeah.
I had fun.
So. And I also like that we're still grinding away, you know, within the wider crypto space, within a bear market. I'm loving that aspect of things too. That's something I've been holding out for 3 years to start nibbling away at. So no, I'm very much looking forward to the years ahead.
Yep, same.
You know, when we you know, Sandbox is spending all this money on ads right now, and sand is worth what, 10 cents on the dollar, or what it was a year ago. You know, people are crying that they can't sell their property in LA for mint a year later, granted, but they're not selling it 10 cents on the dollar, like you ended up with if you're in Sandbox.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I'm flipping like crazy in Chicago, and I'm still selling at a profit. So, and I'm smashing the floors there. So it's just all about your entry and exit points and having a plan. You know, when Upland released all those additional properties in Chicago, it kind of threw my plans in the works. Like I bought something stupid, 4,000 properties or something stupid in Chicago to sit on for a year and then flip the floor. Well, I was expecting the floor to be around 10K when in actual fact it's 6K. But you know, you just take what you can get. Like I said, I'm still selling a profit. So
yeah.
And I keep saying that is people who are buying in with the idea they're going to sell out in a month. That's what's banging the floors in so many cities. It has just destroyed the floors in cities because people think I have to sell this property before the next city release, and they find the way to sell the property, which is at a 40% loss. But that's not a very good strategy for making a profit in the metaverse. That's for sure.
Yeah, especially in areas that are still got thousands of unminted properties. That just doesn't make any sense. All you're doing is really roping a dope.
Rope-a-dope.
Well, so they right, selling at a loss. Well, I'm going to make it up in the volume. Yeah, you can't make it up in the volume if you're selling at a loss. It just doesn't work.
Yes. Well, then again, I used to do that back in the day. I was famous for my under mint fire sales in like out of Richmond and stuff like that. I sold hundreds upon hundreds of
You've learned from that
properties. Well, it's just not an option anymore. Like I used to sell under mint to get funds to, you know, to buy when the financial district in San Francisco was starting to mint out, you know, I sold a bunch under mint to get enough properties there to hold on to and whatnot. So it is a ploy, but yeah, if you're constantly, you're FOMOing into a city and then you're selling under mint to get FOMO into the next city.
Well, I mean, there's people who are three cities or 4 cities into that cycle, that cascade of I'm going to FOMO out at a loss to get into my next, FOMO, and then I'm going to take a loss there. So I'm going to get into my next FOMO move, and they haven't made a profit in 3 cities.
Yeah. That's where you get yourself into a square.
I'm gonna say, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I finished.
I was gonna say, this may not be popular or received well, but there has to be spicy. There has to be losers as well as winners. Every single one of us has lost in this game at least once. That's how you learn. I'm not gonna say I've won every single time. I've lost a lot, but I've also won a lot. You can't have everybody win. There has to be losers as well as winners. If everybody won, it's just impossible. So like, no one is ever going to be completely happy. That's where you're going to have the complainers. But they just have to kind of lick their wounds and move on. Like if they just hold on for one more day, Wilson Phillips, things will go your way. And,
freaking singing episode.
Yeah, instead of funning about it, just learn from it. I mean,
we've all got those bonehead moves in our account in the early days.
Well, but there's a difference between taking a loss, which we again moving liquidity, right? Taking a loss to move liquidity, and this concept of zero sum game too, because I think we're already headed into the idea that it's not a zero sum game. You're getting something out of it in addition to what you're putting in. People, hopefully you're having fun. It's a game, right? People talk about investment versus game, and the other thing is when you start layering experiences. I bought this asset so I could win in this contest. I'm selling it at a loss, but I won myself a brand new car because of that, that contest. So there starts to be layers of experience. And when there's layers of experience, it's not necessarily a net zero situation. You can take some losses and still overall be winning along the way, especially if you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And it's something I consider too. When I started crushing the floor in Chicago, I started getting into areas where my mints were in the 4 to 5K range. And I was thinking, like, if I'm selling at 6K, that's not a great margin. But I've held those properties for over a full year each. So think about the dividends on top of that. It's not much, but it all adds up. So yeah, you just comes back to having a plan and not investing more than you're willing to lose. Like legitimately, everybody says that, but not many people, truly that's their call. So. Well,
I mean, for like 17%, I do my numbers every once in a while. And like 17% of my overall earnings are send fees, or visit fees to properties. So you gotta take that into consideration. I make my 14% on properties, plus the total amount that I make in just rough without selling properties, without doing anything. An additional like 12% on top of that, just from people sending to my properties over time. It's, keeping send fees low, having properties in the right areas, holding out for contests, knowing that I get a lot more send fees during contests.
Same here. Like I'll make about 20K a day and like dividends and send fees. And, a good amount of it is dividends, but, another good amount of it is send fees. So that's important to know as well. Like,
yeah, that's one thing I considered last night in the UDU server. I was started to put together some of my goals for 2023. And one of my big goals is to drop my property count. I want to shed at least 3,000 properties, but that's obviously going to take a big hit on send fees as well. So that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
But yes, 6,000 properties or whatever the hell I've got is just a bit too ridiculous, because obviously I'm going to keep buying in cities and whatnot. But yeah. So
well, it's like Abdullah. I mean, he keeps on stacking that property count. It's like, what are you going to do with all those properties?
I think that's, well, I don't know his game plan, but I think that's just full on play money. So yeah, I mean, initially I wanted to get to 7,000 properties this year as kind of just a bit of a wank, really. There was no real rhyme or reason for it. Just for the sake, the hell I can do it. But then, I've reconsidered things, and, for what we're setting up to do with, UDU giveaways, and especially if we get the URL tracks and we want to, make the MTU 100 race. We want to have decent prize money for that. I need, what did I put together last night? I think it's about 5 million I need in escrow just for the basics of what we want to do next year. So I got to sell some shit. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, I'm not putting in fresh money into FOMO into cars or anything like this. I got to work with whatever's in. That's what I've got to play with. So
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Should we start diving into shizzle?
Shizzle, manizzle.
So we're going to do a bit of a year in review. Yesterday, or maybe the day before, I went back and had a look through the year, and I've just picked out a few articles here and there through the year. So we're going to bang through like January, February, this, that, and the other thing. And we have a good mix of Upland related things, NFTs, Metaverse, a few gaming things and whatnot. Not like our usual thing where we'll see an article and we'll dive in deep and look through it all. We're just going to basically do some headline jumping. So we'll take the headline and use that as a bit of an inspiration point for some reviewing and reflection.
Real quick, I'm so sorry, but there's the FIFA field that came out.
The what?
FIFA field.
Are you talking about the Block Explorer or are you
Yeah,
talking about the
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Pull it up. You're
It's
talking
wait. I need to buy it.
people are listening,
first.
got no idea.
Oh, you want to see mine? I got one.
Bring
How
it
much
up.
did you get it for free? For free.
What are you talking about? Is this
What
an
FIFA
announcement?
field? What FIFA field are you talking about?
The Block Explorer, dude.
Oh yeah, I won the
Share
Block.
screen cheese.
I won the Block Explorer. Yeah.
Well, I'm purchasing mine. Hold on, let me purchase it first.
Oh, she's gonna show off how cheap she got hers. That's what she's gonna do.
Yes.
Okay.
Duh.
Do it. I earned mine, but you can buy yours. That's fine.
Wow. Whatever, Goldie. All right, let me show this. Share screen. All right, so it's all the way at the bottom. I think this is pretty cheap. 36K.
There's 374 of them. The question is how sticky are they? How badly do people want to hold on to them?
I want to hold on. I'm a holder. Ben knows that. This is pretty. This is freaking beautiful. Look at that. Look at the people in the stands. They're playing soccer.
Oh, don't forget, in less than 6 months, we're doing this all over again.
Yes, for the Women's World Cup, isn't it?
Women's World Cup in that fair little island nation of Australia.
Oh, it's Sydney. That might as well be a different country.
Well, it's not Sydney. It's all over the place. It's
It's
it's in both. I mean, people keep dropping it, but it's in multiple cities. They're going to be in Sydney, Brisbane. They've got a couple cities in New Zealand, but I know that you guys in the Kiwis, you don't even know the city names over there. So I mean, it's one of those things that it's really spread out. So Australia is going to get celebrated. I don't know why New Zealand gets lumped in there, but apparently they get lumped in there as well.
Yes. Well, let's just do a vocab lesson. It's not Brisbane, it's Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Yeah. Pretend you're sneezing. Brisbane.
Yeah, Goldie.
If you say Brisbane, you just sound like an epic twat. I'm going to Brisbane with my mummy.
Hey, you come up here and talk in Boston, see how you do.
Yes. All right. So what did you buy 2 of those, did you?
I bought
Was
one.
that the one you bought? Yeah.
I'm gonna hold it. I love it. I love anything with like a significance, like a Block Explorer with significance. I like anything with a year on it. So yeah.
I did have a wine in the UCN channel yesterday too. Did you see that?
I did not. Oh, wait, but it was a productive wine.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wish, like, without the outdoor structure ornaments we've got for this UNICEF thing, like, I'd like to go crazy and buy up a whole bunch more to decorate Midtown Terrace. But the 5-minute cool down, like, really? Can we just get that for the first, 48 hours, 72 hours after release? Clearly, there's not much demand there. Well, let the people who want to buy the stuff, let them gobble it up.
I agree.
Because Maya's just about ready to kill me, setting off 5-minute timer. I'm in the middle of the dishes and the timer goes off and I trot over and buy another one. And yeah, it's just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, So we've seen it before with it, where what they did was they did a 3-stage, right? After you buy a first one, you can't buy a second. And then eventually they turn on the timer. And then eventually they go to, okay, buy as many as you want, Abdullah. And I think that buy as many as you want, Abdullah, even in Spark, makes sense after so many hours. Give everyone the number of hours. And then, Abdullah, do you want 77 of these packages? Go ahead.
Well, this is not Abdullah. This is Ben.
Okay. Okay, Ben, you get a little earlier than Abdullah. How's that sound?
Sounds
no,
good.
But seriously, I mean, if we did a tiered stage where, all right, there's 6,000 people who want 2,000 things, you have to be on a cooldown. But once everyone's had 2 hours to buy it, why is there a cooldown?
Well, make it like I said,
40,
make it 48 hours.
Yeah.
That gives it all the time zones a fair crack at it.
Yeah, people working.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, so you don't make it a 1 hour event. You can say, you have until Tuesday. We made the announcement. If you choose not to log into the game every 3 days, that's a choice. But yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, give India, Australia, and those guys on Mountain Time in the US all the same crack of whatever period of time.
Yeah, so I bought an extra 15 last night, where I would have bought 50, but it's just too hard basket. All right, let's dive in. So the first one we got up, this was in January. So we had, and I can't see it, you'll have to read it, Cheese, because I got the zoomage.
Facebook owner Meta to lift veil off its metaverse business. Ooh.
So this is what we started the year off with, was that whole thing with Kark Zuckerberg and the whole big meta plans, and it kind of threw everybody into a tail spin, and everybody was writing all sorts of articles about it.
Yeah, but isn't the question, where's the legs? Where's the legs?
Yeah, that did come later, but there was a lot of hype around it. I mean, I've been through a roller coaster with Mark this year, through just laughing at him, fighting, and then just kind of taking my hat off to the guy. I mean, the balls to pull that much of a massive change on a $1 billion business and just totally rebrand it and that sort of stuff. It's pretty huge.
To be fair, he had to rebrand it because it was becoming a senior citizen hangout.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's the thing in corporate, and then again, I've seen this in some corporate, migrations. I'll put it the right way, because it's essentially a migration. It's an internal change. They kind of reorganized who owns what, but it's all within the same company. So within migration, it is common for them to say, we're taking a 3-year write down to do this migration, which means where the real dividends need to be seen is 36 months out. And when you start looking at it like that, then for sure this might have been a smart move. Right now it looks stupid as hell though. Yeah,
I think it helped too. Like, all of the publicity surrounded got a lot of people who had no idea what this word metaverse was all about. It got them, their ears pricked up and that sort of stuff. So, that has died off a bit. But I was actually looking through Twitter before, and we'll probably get to this a bit later through the stuff we go on to. But I think this is a good synopsis with that whole meta thing of where things are headed. Now, this is from somebody, I don't really know how I saw them, but there you go. Read that one.
I recently spent time using a Meta Quest 2 headset, and one thing became instantly clear to me. The people making fun of Meta's VR investments have either never used one of these or have zero vision. I agree. This is the future, and Meta is way out in front. Who else is even close? Like, Ben and I saw this interview with Zuck and a lady, another person, and the expressions on their faces were so vivid and clear and exact. It was almost scary. And their movements, like, to be able to do that without having anything on your hands, anything on your face, is outstanding. Like, he wants to also implement this on the legs and feet without having anything on them to kind of send information to the headset. He wants it all to just be like, like, I can't even seamless. Yeah. So it's like like everyone kind of making fun is just kind of bad, like following the crowd, like, oh, I don't know anything about this, but I'm gonna just do what Bob and Sally do because, you know, I don't know much of it to make my own opinion on it, sort of thing.
Bob and Sally.
I think it's mainstream FUD, right? Because I mean, they're not really in the NFT space, but they're like, wait a minute, these guys in the NFT space have this thing called FUD. Let me jump on board.
Yes, I love that, Bob and Sally. I always say Susie Sally, yeah, at work. So that just reminded me. Yeah, so I think that was an interesting start to the year. And what? I'm squirreling on your chat. All right, but that wasn't the only big news that dropped early. We did also have, I'll bring this up. So this was in February. So I tick over to February. And how was this for a headline?
CryptoPunks Ethereum NFT sells for nearly, 24 million, doubling previous record. Why?
Yeah, so we covered this at the time. A lot of these articles I've taken from the links in the Whine and Cheese show. So
Like,
yeah, that was massive.
What? And this doesn't give any utility other than it's a one of one, right?
Not quite, because then we've also got this one. Oh, sorry, Goldie, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, CryptoPunks actually did a post launch of gating, of event gating with the CryptoPunks. The apes were actually built around the idea that they eventually would have gating.
What is gating?
You have to own something, own one of the items, own one of the NFTs in order to go to certain events, have better placement in future purchases, or buy into a token.
Yeah. So imagine the UDU held an in real life event, you know, at the club or whatever, or you had to show your UDU property ID or something. Like
more like a UDU tattoo with a serial number.
Whine and Cheese NFT.
Yes. But yeah, you mentioned Bored Ape. Well, yeah, in the same month, just after actually. So this was early March. Bored Ape Yacht Club's Yuga Labs acquired the CryptoPunks IP from them. So they actually bought it out. So yeah, that was pretty huge. Two of the biggest projects.
And it just makes me so angry because, like, at least the Bored Ape has like graphics and like detail and whatnot. But I'm looking at this CryptoPunk, and it takes me so long to make just one layer of a finished project, which is usually anywhere from 5 to 25 layers. And I'm just like, what the hell, man?
8-bit baby.
Yeah,
just make it easy. It's like doing a cross stitch. They figure if you can't do a cross stitch in 10 minutes to make a CryptoPunk, they're doing too much work.
Yeah, but it was more about what they represented and the potential functionality and the scarcity and whatnot, and the community that drove the prices.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The functionality is to go to a place where most people won't be able to go into a token, which most tokenomics, if not all, are bullshit. And they are, like, I don't understand. Wait, I'm not done. I don't think tokenomics works for the most part. If you get in early and you're able to time it just right, it'll work. But it's more like a kind of like a pyramid scheme or a pump and dump. And what was the third utility that they had? What was the third utility for it? You said
the utilities are gated events, so events they can only go to if you own. Being able to purchase a token, which
and then being able to be in line to purchase another really expensive.
Exactly.
Or don't forget that there was the ape airdrop as well. So if you held a Bored Ape, you got, some people made tens of thousands of dollars, but you're right, Cheese, in
tens and thousands of dollars for purchasing a $25 million NFT. That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah.
Though I mean, I might be crazy, but that the math doesn't add up.
Yes, and I was just going to say, imagine you're one of the people that didn't get the airdrop, but then you FOMO'd in to buy that on the market, and then you've seen the prices shit the bed. So,
no, I was at NFT NYC 2022, and they had a Bored Ape, yacht club. Oh, come into the, they had a special event with anybody who had a Bored Ape, and apparently it was just like night and day from what it was 9 months earlier. The hype and the excitement 9 months earlier when they had 2021. Again, keep
So
in
you
mind.
could go and buy a rum and coke at one location for 25 million rather than doing it right next door for $7-10.
Oh, I get invited to a free event, and I didn't have to have a friggin' monkey. So
That's
I
good
think,
for you. That's not the topic of the conversation.
No, that's the point. The point is I didn't have to have the friggin' monkey to have the free drink, and so you're gonna buy that friggin' monkey if you want that free drink. Crazy.
Yes,
It's crazy.
I do know that somebody, again, this was news this year. Somebody did license one of their Bored Apes, the way it looks, its appearance, it's essentially its personhood, to do a cartoon series.
Or that might be Seth Green, is it?
And
Well,
he
we've
got
got
that
that in the list.
stolen.
Well, that
We've
was
got
Seth
that in the
Green.
list.
Yeah, that was Seth Green as well. Seth Green did that, but somebody at NFT NYC, a woman, had acquired a Bored Ape, and then like a month later had licensed it. So it was like she bought it to license it.
Did you see there was somebody that just got scammed? They got social engineered out of their entire NFT collection, including a whole bunch of Bored Apes and all sorts of stuff. And
Wow.
it was like that. It was whoever did it put in tons of effort. Like they made fake websites. They were calling up, pretending to be managers. Basically, say old mate Bob or whoever you said before, he's got his NFT collection, right, worth hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of dollars. And then like we get hit with in the MVE email address all the time, hey, we want to advertise with you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, good on your scammer, block. Well, this was a whole thing where this person that was scamming this guy, that they were wanting to license the IP for their NFTs essentially. So it was this whole convoluted process over months and months and months, fake lawyers, fake contracts.
Wow.
And eventually it was like a digital signature or something, but it's one of those things where you're signing yes, okay, but what you're actually doing is basically transferring all of your assets to the scammer's wallet. Yeah,
Wow.
that dropped just recently.
So you
last week or something.
So you're saying that like the MetaMask signature was actually a spoofed signature, and it wasn't doing what the person thought it was doing.
I don't know if it was MetaMask, but that was the underlying coding. But it maybe they were digitally signing like a whatever it was, a contract or something like that. Yeah, but it was something that they were clicked on and they just lost everything. Boom, gone.
Transfer of ownership immediately. Wow.
Yep. So yeah, that's why I send Cheese the emails that we get all the time, and it's just hilarious. I string people along for a while and then just okay, thanks, bye.
Just send me your private keys and I'll give you $1 million. No big deal.
Yeah.
I get messages through my MetaMask a lot too. It's not messages, more so it's offers or hey, you won something. And like if you ever receive this, people in your MetaMask, do not click it. It's not real. That's how people lost a lot of their important stuff. Yeah.
I mean, the chances are that's, through the year, I don't know how many emails we've got to advertise on the YouTube channel or whatever. The chances are we've probably missed one or two legitimate opportunities, but it's just not worth it. It's not worth doing your ass. So, I mean, it's a very ever-present danger. I mean, it could happen. You could accidentally click on something or, even I got, somebody that we kind of know through the various shows that we do or whatnot. I got a DM for them and it was just an Atomic Hub claim link. And that was the first, I'd talked to this person in like Upland General or through our shows and that, but just to get it, this is our first ever DM here, click this link. I'm like, hey mate, what? And then he explained, oh no, it was actually me, this, that, and the other thing. And I said, well, can you claim it yourself? And this is my WAM address. Please send it to me and I'll send you something back. It's just not worth it.
I've had to say that to so many people who have sent me a link this year for Christmas here, Merry Christmas. And I'm like, thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate this, but I don't click on links. I know somebody could anything could happen. Somebody could have taken over this person's Discord and they were very understanding about it. And you just have to be careful, even if it's somebody I know.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's see what we got next. Now, this is still staying in February. this was that one that we definitely touched on that is going to be relevant as we move forward as well.
Metaverse app allows kids into virtual strip clubs. I remember this one. Jesus.
Yes. So, and this went with a whole bunch of stuff where, remember, there was the woman saying she got molested, her avatar got molested and assaulted and all that sort of stuff. So this was kind of straight after the Meta announcement, basically. And that kicked off a whole other angle of stuff. And didn't we touched on this with Mesme last week too, about the whole sexism in the Web3 space. So that's something that's definitely going to be highly relevant next year as well, I would imagine, as more people begin to onboard.
Well, I mean, what are we, two years out from like starting to talk about avatars as personhood, right? You know, it's like, well, what rights do I have to my avatar? What can you do to my avatar that, you know, violates my rights as a person?
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how that all pans out. Cheezels, anything to add?
Yeah, I like how they're doing something about it. Like the lady said, her first time into that metaverse, as soon as she came in, like the guys swarmed her and just started saying really awful things to her, because in those metaverses you can actually hear voices, and they were like doing things to her avatar, and it's a really awful experience that anybody can go through, especially like a female. Like we are really the minority in this space, and it's mostly because we're like, a lot of us are hiding in plain sight, pretending to be guys, because we don't want to be treated like that. We want to have the respect. Like, it's funny, a lot of times people talk to me, they'll say sir or dude or bro, and as soon as I say, oh, I'm a female, the whole dynamic changes. Like, it's not as friendly, or it's not as respectful anymore for the most part. Some people are extremely awesome. I'm very lucky to have met as many people as I have in this metaverse, especially you and Goldie. But there are instances where, you know, I'll get ghosted if I'm a lady. No more conversation. Or like if they hear my voice, oh, I didn't know you were a girl. As if it was a dirty thing. Like, oh yeah, ew, get out of here.
Did I say I wasn't? You know, yeah.
I mean, combine that with all the haptic stuff that's coming out, and things have the potential to get greasy very quickly.
Yeah.
You see,
I'm 6 months away from someone grabbing my my McRibs buns, and I'm not happy about that.
Wow, Goldie, don't make this about you. And I just want to say, greasy, the word of 2022.
I just like how, I just like how we mentioned haptics, and Goldie's first thought is his haptic bun suit. Yes. Nice.
You know, I'm a McRib. That's how that works.
All right. Well, moving on to March. Then we had Upland released the information, the about the metaverse motor economy, and of course that went on to spawn, you know, the URL and all of the different stuff that then kicked on through the rest of the year with prepping for racing and this, that, and the other thing. So I think I've got two articles here. Yeah. In the week after, you know, then it mentioned the specifics of the MV Motors project. We've already dived into this a bit. I guess the next big thing is kind of, you know, that whole your block explorers as the drivers and that sort of stuff. That's probably the next biggest thing. And what would it be? It'd be user generated content as far as creating our own tracks.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for UGC for cars, but I know that's probably 12 months out.
Yeah, for like blueprints and manufacturing and that.
Yeah, blueprints, manufacturing, and aftermarket, modification.
Yeah, we've got so much to work through in the outdoor decor beta. Like it, you know, it is in beta. Like I said, at the moment, my showroom is completely glitched out. So, yeah, I think we're a ways from that opening up even further to, you know, other outdoor decor manufacturers, and then that will have to go through a process. And like you speak to what we're up against as far as submitting designs and waiting for the approval process. I mean,
Yeah, so we submitted our Halloween designs like a month
and a half.
before.
Yeah.
Almost 2 months before Halloween, and we're still waiting on that.
Yeah, we did the same for Christmas. We submitted several items for Christmas that are still in the approval process. I think we've got nine outstanding at the moment.
If it helps at all, like I will buy a witch on Easter if that's when it comes out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you think there would be a market? And not much, but
Well, some of us, like, as a joke and as a support, like, ha ha ha, it took 6 months for this to come out. We want to support you. I mean, again, I don't know if there's enough of us to really be like, whoa, we create a market. But I think people understanding the circumstance. Again, there's a lot of us understanding the circumstance. Definitely would think that's a little bit tongue in cheek to be like, ha ha ha, I bought a witch in Easter because it took 6 months for Upland to get around to approving it.
there are like, what do we make, 200 of them, Ben, or 500? Not many.
For the sign, 1,000, I believe it was.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we'll wait for next Halloween just for the FOMO aspect of what.
Say that, but like I just bought an extra. What did I spend? I spent an extra 600K buying the UNICEF winter structure ornaments. I didn't buy them for this year. I've just bought a bunch more last night. That's not really for this year. That's to continue building stock for the subsequent years. So
Yeah.
I think
For the neighborhood ratings.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So I think we would definitely, maybe we'd do a short run. Like, we know for this next sale that we're doing in January, we're going to have the Dragon Fountain. That's going to be the main, because that's, we had a vote and that's what we decided on. That's going to be the main. So there's going to be
that fountain.
100 of those, but we're also going to do like several of the full sets. Well, I can see in future sales that we do, it'll be, whatever the key item is going to be the bulk and a few full sets. And okay, well, here's a chance at the first 10 of the Halloween signs for next year, or here's the first 10 of the Christmas spirals or something. So I think we'll always, whatever we have available that can be manufactured, we'll try to just we'll always have our bulk sale, but we'll always just filter those through as well.
We'll have to have a meeting.
Yeah. But yeah, leading up to Halloween next year, that'll be when we go hardcore for manufacturing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. But then it also becomes an issue of storage and transportation. Like, if we have to truck these, there's a cost there. If we have to store them, we need a storage area that's close to the showroom. So yeah, you could manufacture a whole bunch of stuff ahead of time, but there's mechanics there that we're not quite sure how it's going to play out yet. So
Like, what I'm thinking is we're going to have other stuff to manufacture for events that are happening currently to capture the FOMO. Like, I think it would be kind of like a waste to have Halloween stuff when we could have Easter stuff or 4th of July stuff or stuff like that.
Yeah, but your 4th of July stuff won't get approved until like Halloween.
Well, we never know, because it's next year and it could be better. So
yeah, that they got to streamline the process. I mean, and like I said, all the background logistics of all that is still very much in flux. Like, they're still, like, DTEC is like the process he's going through at the moment. Did you see his rage? Like, he
came on last night.
For what's that for? The Carnival, the Carnival thing.
Yeah, he says, what am I supposed to do with 3,500 triangles?
It said, like, it took them a week to get to him, to let him know that, and like everybody already completed their stuff. And like, there's no way to get it that low. Like, I think his minimum was 9,000, and for him that was low. So we'll see. Hopefully they can kind of like balance that a bit and come to some sort of compromise.
Yeah, I mean, he's a genius. If there is a way, he will find it. But they need that information at the front, not at the back. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there that needs to be fixed up. So yeah, I think how did we get onto that? Motors, wasn't it? Yeah, manufacturing motors. So yeah. I'm excited about what's to come for cars. Like I said, I want to set up the URL sanctioned Midtown Terrace race. I'd love to do that, give away, a big fat prize, this, that, and the other thing, but just don't know how it's all going to play out. I will say that I still can't, I haven't tried with my car that I bought. Can I race on mobile? I don't even know if I can do it.
Not yet. No, it's coming out next year. But as of right now, the one cool thing, and Cheese, I know this got brought to you the other day, and you had that conversation with Elijah, was, you know, we have the ability to set our own races and invite who we want to be in them. So all the mechanics are there to run your race series right in Upland. The reality is, because it's all RNG, you know, trade or RNG, Jesus, you know, roll those dice, see what happens. And we don't have block explorers turned on as having different driving stats. That's coming. We don't have switching between lanes during the race for a little bit of competitive advantage for actual user input. That's coming first quarter. We don't really have the real ability to say it's a skill-based race yet, but we already have the ability to start putting those race series together. I personally would love to see the mechanics come in before people take the race series too seriously. But we're there. We already have that ability to set that race series up if somebody wanted to.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's exciting to come, and it's cool to see like all of this stuff that's been talked about, and you know what Dak and Mass Chef and everybody at URL and all of the other content creators for the cars thing. It's great to see all of this starting to get put in their hands so they can do stuff. And Dak was another one who I think he only just recently got a car as well, was able to mint one, same as yourself. So
yeah, he was in cars early, and this is the first one he was able to mint directly, and he didn't even have one before. He was someone let him borrow one, but he did not own a car up until now.
Yes, kind of crazy.
That was pretty exciting when he got.
All right, let's move on. This is from April, so we're kicking over to April now. So this was one that we definitely touched on too, that had us scratching our heads, and I think that this is going to play out as we move forward as well.
I remember this. Thinking about creating in the metaverse, Facebook will take nearly half of your revenue. We had a conversation with somebody though. He had the same kind of ideas as me, where if you're lazy, if you're lazy or you are too busy, and you had this great idea for an NFT, but you don't want to learn, you don't want to go through the process, you create, like, you'll have Facebook create it for you, and they're going to charge you 50%, like close to 50%. I don't know anything about royalties, how they do that. We didn't really dive too deep into that, but I mean, I personally don't think it's going to be popular. What do you guys think? I need more NyQuil.
I want some NyQuil. So right now Upland is 70-30 split. And that's if you make the art, it goes through and gets sold through their store, not your store, their store, 70-30. That's what they've done previously. It's 50-50 split. Well, this again, because they kind of snuck this in on us. It's a 50-50 split. If you're a partnership who comes in with a brand, and Upland does all the work, they make the art models, they put everything in, they do all the front end work for you, and you just take the back end. That's 50-50 split. That's what they're doing with UNICEF. And that seems fair, right? They're taking an additional 20% because it's their artists who are doing the work. I agree with that 100%. And then you go into the next step, and the next step is it's your Spark that's building it. You amass a Spark in your own. Upland's not. And then they're taking 5% of the transaction on your side and 5% of the transaction on the buyer side, comes to a total of 10% that they're plus or minus, because the fees, the MetaVenture fees are variable. So plus or minus 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% they take of that transaction when you do go and sell. So I think that's a pretty beautiful model as of right now. There's 3 tiers. Again, Upland does all the work. Upland does the work, including the store, and you do 90% of the work. You get 90% of the sale price. So I'm pretty happy with that on the Upland side. But as far as looking at Meta, what are they doing for that 50%? That would be my question.
Yeah. That's a very good question too. I don't know what they're doing. They're just saying thank you very much. It's a bit like Apple with the in-app purchases. Like they just take 30%, just a straight 30. Thanks for that. So, yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see how that pans out. And we did cover too, like Cheesy mentioned, royalties. We talked about that extensively through the year, how at it, I don't know if I've got an article in here, but at the start of the year, there was a kind of a race to the bottom as far as royalties. And then there was some platforms saying, well, we're just going to do zero royalties. And then there's been heavy pushback against that. And it seems to be going the other way. Like, and on the flip side, we have Upland, where they've pretty much every time royalties have been mentioned, they don't respond. So,
Yeah.
so
Well, I
don't know.
mean, it's work, right? It's work to keep track of that.
Well, it's not. It's blockchain. It's
I
just got
know.
to code it in, and
It's work
Yeah.
to create. It's work to create the decor that DTech creates, and we should be able to get a royalty when those are sold each time. And
Oh, no,
because Upland gets their cut.
Upland gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I know Upland gets their cut every time that transacts. And the theory is the artist should be in that same position as Upland. And I don't disagree with that. When I say it's work, this kind of tongue in cheek, it would take Upland 4.5 hours worth of programming to essentially equalize the market moving forward.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's going to become an issue. The more that we onboard legitimate NFT artists, that have experience in the wider ecosystem with royalties, that they're going to come in here and say, well, where's the royalties? You know, are they going to stick around if there's not ongoing royalties?
As soon as you said Artemis, I thought of Always Sunny and her famous line in there. I have a bleached asshole. Do you watch Always Sunny, Ben?
Yes.
Do you remember that was her pickup line?
Nice.
That's got a bird. All right, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Next up, we got a gaming one for you, Cheese. So you can sink your teeth into this one. So this was an interesting one as well. And this is something that's going to play out more and more as we move ahead as well, I believe.
Yeah. Ubisoft ends its NFT experiment in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but promises they're coming to other games. Fuck you, Ubisoft. I bought Ghost Recon just because of that. And then it's fun because I love shooting people in the face. But at the same time, it's very samey. Like there's a word for it, starts with an R. If you repetitive. Yeah. It's extremely repetitive. And I haven't finished it, which kills me because I always finish video games. It's a quite large video game. The storyline would be is pretty cool if it wasn't so repetitive and long.
Yeah, well, can you speak to that whole thing where gamers hate NFTs?
They don't understand it. Gamers, like if COVID never happened, I might have been one of those gamers. Like NFTs, I don't know what that is. Like humans fear what they don't understand. As soon as they understand it and know what it's about, like actually owning your assets within the game and being able to profit off of them or hold them as collections, and they are yours 100% to do with whatever you want, then they would embrace it more, in my opinion.
Yeah. So there's a few articles that we got coming up that kind of dive into that as well. But yeah, I think as we move forward, people, and we've seen so many of these gaming platforms start to get involved, whether it be Roblox or even what's the other, Fortnite. That's a big one where they're doing a whole bunch of stuff with NFTs and metaverses, and it's I think it's a case of one of those things where it's going to happen regardless of whether you like it or not. So
yeah, it's like I don't understand, because there was this one game on Steam where you were able to sell your assets, and I made quite a few dollars on it, and now they are like non-tradable. And it's like, why? Like why not give people the ability to kind of make money on things they find in a game or they win, etc. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I mean, you had that with Chinese gold farming, or gold farming before you even had had the ability to sell out into USD, where people were doing whatever, where they were selling in-game marketplaces, and they had to cash out their in-game currency because there wasn't an option to go out to fiat. And this predates NFT, so this is something that the gaming marketplace in a way wanted. It's just not rolled out in a way that the big game houses have put out to gamers, so it still seems like it's a push rather than a pull.
Yeah,
Well-
it's not in a digestible format yet.
Yeah, I used to play Anarchy Online back in 2001, and it was the first MMORPG I've ever played, and it's where I met Solly in 2007. But they had, where he says the term Chinese gold farmers or pearl farmers, it's where like they would sit around and just farm a whole bunch of loot and then sell this big package of in-game currency for dollar amount, where the game itself wouldn't do it themselves. So you would have people, you know, making lots of money, but a lot of people got banned for, like, if they found out that you had purchased this, they would ban you, or they would if it came up in the chat, which it came up a lot, like those advertisements, they would have mods that would take it away. Yeah, I agree, that kind of thing is a little bit greasy, but at the same time, you know, I don't know what to say. It's still a free market. It's, if the game itself disallows it, then I can see it. But like, if they don't do it themselves, or they don't have a place, like they had a place inside where you can put your stuff up for sale, give the person the ability to sell it for real money instead of in-game money. That's what they did with Diablo 3. And I played Diablo 3, oh my god, almost 24/7 for like half a year, because I was making money, real money auction house, and then they took it away. It's like,
kind of like Upland with the selling UPEX. Like, I used to buy UPEX discounted for crypto when it was still a gray area.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to do that, if you're going to put those restrictions in, then you have to do some. I mean, again, maybe not even the UPEX, but if you're going to put the restrictions, then you have to turn around and do some other type of support. I mean, if the games are saying we want to make all the USD, we don't want our players to make USD, well, then that changes the mentality of the players coming into the game. But if you are going to be a you know, earning game, which a lot of games are, or potential for earning games, you want to meld things, then that's where that support comes in. And NFTs just make it a lot easier for the game to support that transfer of ownership.
Absolutely. Yes. All right. Now the next big one kicking on the next month.
Wait, can I mention something before?
Go for it.
Your shirt. Like, I keep looking at it and trying to find everything that's going on in there. I see a couple of cats.
No, that's Australian animals. There's no cats.
There's no cats?
No.
All right.
I thought they were fireworks or something, and they're like a dingo on fire. Okay, I got it better.
Like, I've been staring at it this whole time to kind of see. We're gonna have to go over it sometime during the show.
Okay.
All right.
We'll save that for the end, maybe.
All right.
I'll do a close up. Yes. All right. So I believe this was May, wasn't it? Is that we're up to May? And of course, Genesis Week. That was a huge one. I wasn't there. Obviously, you were there. So take it away.
What is this?
Genesis Week.
Oh, Genesis Week. And what am I saying?
You were there. You were there.
Review and reflect, recap.
All right. So I get there, and we get there a day early, just kind of like, you know, relax. And then the next day, Uplando texts me. He's like, hey, you know, we're hanging out in the bar area, the lounge area. I'm here with TML and Boulder Magic. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, we'll go see. And like, we're walking around, we're trying to find it. And then as soon as I see Uplando stand up and he's so tall, and then we both just kind of go like that to each other. I was so nervous, but like as soon as we kind of like, hey, it's you. That was really fun. And then we're talking, and it's the first time I met any of them in real life. And it was just such a comfortable, friendly thing where I thought it was going to be awkward, but it wasn't. I must have like when I meet, I'm a little awkward when I meet you. I'll just kind of try to study your face a bit. It's just something I do. Like, and I did that to poor Boulder. I did it to TML. I did it to Uplando, and they all like just treated me very normally, and I was so appreciative of that. And Uplando walked away to take a phone call, and that's when I saw this guy in bright orange shorts, and it was Dirk. And if he was trying to be conspicuous, like very like hidden, he was doing a really bad job of it. He's another extremely tall one, and I'm like, Dirk. And I don't usually do that. It just came out, and he looked at me, and he looked at like everyone there, and he just tried to keep going. And then TML was like, Dirk. And he's like, he looked again, and he's like, shoot, I gotta come over. So he came over, he's hugging everybody, and I asked him for a hug, and he's like, do I know you? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, just give me a freaking hug. I said, I'm Cheese. I'm the one that did that picture of you. And he gave me a hug, and we were all talking. And then Uplando came by, and it was really fun. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And I didn't expect them to be there. I didn't have my book. I left it at the hotel, but eventually TML was really awesome. He got me a signed book with the members, and it was great. Even though one of the members said they didn't know who I was, but I'm trying to overcome that. That's right. I'm a sensitive person, people. You can't do that to me. Pretend. But everybody else was so amazing. I met Shaq. I met Tim. I met Lizette was awesome. She's just a freaky man, happy motherfucker, hacker, all of those really cool people. Oh, it was awesome.
Signed up again for next year?
I'm definitely going. I'll have to convince Sully. Sully was so bored, but now that he knows some people, and I would love it if Big Dollars came, because Sully and Big Dollars have such a bromance. Goldie
so
knows it.
You're gonna let them consummate that in person? Or what?
Like, I have a feeling Biggs is gonna be like, come on, Sully, let's go play some slots. And that would be so cool, because poor Sully was so bored. And like, I kind of tried to get him into the conversations, but
he's since started playing the game a bit more regularly and is more aware of what it's all about and that sort of stuff. So maybe
he's bought
he'd
like
be
77 cars. I mean, the guy's got like what, a fleet of cars already.
He's not a schmoozer like me, like a networker. He's more of like a he's very intelligent. He's like the software engineer, like programming nerd, the kind of person I'm really into. And he's good with just kind of like, one-on-one kind of things. But like, if it gets to a point where there's like a lot of people around, he does just kind of like go on his phone and so if he had a buddy there, it would be amazing, and like they could just go off and do their thing while I schmooze.
Nice. Yes. All right, shall we move on? Now, this next one. Now, I brought this up, and I've just seen something in there that's, I don't know whether to laugh or what. And it involves Sawley, actually. I think he might be in a bit of trouble, Cheese.
Why?
So we mentioned before the whole Seth Green NFT. So he was setting up to do a whole show related to his Bored Ape NFT, and it got fished out from under him, and he was trying to buy it back. Well, since we did that episode, they've updated the headline, and it appears that he has actually gotten that back. I just noticed before when I clicked on it to get it ready. So yeah, check this out. But then check out the subheading below it after you read the headline.
Seth Green appears to have repurchased his kidnapped Bored Ape NFT for nearly $300K. Green has bought Fred Simeon home after it was kidnapped by Mr. Cheese.
Now, Mr.
Oh,
Cheese, I'm
geez.
just saying. I'm just saying.
Be careful of
Just
anybody
saying.
with the word cheese in their name.
Mr. Cheese sounds like Solly to me. Is he suddenly walking around with flashy watches and throwing money around, or what's going on?
300K, let's buy a house. Shoot. If you spent that
Yes.
on a watch, I'd kill him.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about that before, people getting fished out of their NFT collections and this, that, and the other thing. But yeah, it does appears that he managed to get it back. So that's kind of cool. All right, we won't touch on that one much further. So the next one, I believe this is kicking over to June. Yes, so June. So
Meta-
this
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll just front load it. So it was this article here, and then there's another one Upland related as well. So we just bounce straight between the two.
Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Unity, and others from Metaverse Standards Forum.
Yes, so remember there was that whole thing where there was one notable exception, was there was no Apple representation in here.
Yes.
So there was, and then we've since had Apple applying for all these Metaverse NFT related patents and this, that, and the other thing. So that's all yet to play out as well.
Ooh.
So yeah, that standards thing, of course. Then I think it was not long after, the month after, we had Upland launches the OMA 3 with Web3 Leaders Consortium. So that was a similar sort of thing, Open Metaverse Alliance. And this goes back to FFA, doesn't it? Future fuckery avoidance.
Well, the OMA 3 thing is like, okay, we are trying to be Web3 native. We're a bunch of companies that are trying to build up this concept of an quote unquote open metaverse. And then you have this other group, which is the big old conglomerates that used to have the Web 2 space, that are, how can we set standards for how can we take over the Web 3 space? So I think it is an interesting parallel that both those two efforts are happening separate from each other, because really it is separate from each other. There's one group that's trying to look at what the open metaverse looks like, which is OMA 3, and then obviously you have Microsoft and NVIDIA, and theoretically you're going to see a couple other big names probably sneak in there in the future as well, who are saying, what can we do and work together towards us each taking 1/5 of the metaverse.
Yep. What do you think, Jesus?
I agree.
You squirreled on something. Yes. Yeah, we
Whatever
did.
he said.
We did. I did see. Where did I see that yesterday? I saw somewhere someone mentioned that the CEO of Animoca replied to Elijah on Twitter about involvement. What was the specifics of that? Do you remember?
He asked. It was a live forum, and he asked. Where do they see the future of Upland and yada yada, and they replied something like that there's going to be a lot of Upland related stuff in the upcoming year.
Yeah, because a lot of those OMA 3 things, they're all tied in through Animoca or whatnot, or that's at least a big cornerstone of it. And we haven't really seen. We've seen Upland get a little bit of shine as far as news articles and that sort of stuff. Definitely not as much as we were expecting, especially after that whole FIFA partnership deal. So yeah, that was kind of encouraging to see that information come out. So yeah,
I mean, Vox baby, right? I mean, that's going to be the partnership of 2023.
Yeah.
Dun,
Yes,
dun,
absolutely.
dun, 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 dun.
Vox baby. Yes. All right. So this was huge too. That kicked off in July.
Oh, sorry, God. Microsoft's Minecraft to ban NFTs on game servers, derivative NFT project. Now that was a big one too.
That was a huge one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I had land in one of those projects. I'm still part of their.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name. What's the name of it?
I'm trying to find them.
Didn't you have one set of guests that was doing just that at one point, but way back in June, July of last year?
Yeah, something like that. Yep. So there was a whole that threw a spanner in the works for a whole bunch of projects. So I haven't been keeping my finger on the pulse of that sort of thing. So I'm not sure if that has, rebranded, reformed, refocused. Yeah, I'm just blanking on the name. What was it?
I know I can't find it.
Maybe that's probably a good thing.
What?
We shouldn't be shouting out things.
Well, it was no. They put a lot of work in. They had built it, but it was built on top of a Microsoft, which is open for mods. It's open for mods, but they reset their terms of service essentially.
Yeah, there was a whole economy based around what they were doing, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that was definitely big news.
The Uplift World.
Uplift
right?
World, that's it.
Yeah, Uplift World. I
That
think
was
they're
one of a
still
couple.
doing it.
Yeah, they were talking about moving to a different platform or something. I don't know. Maybe that's something we'll have to follow up on in 2023. But that was
Yeah.
definitely big news at the time.
Yeah.
So yes, again, is Microsoft, did they put the kibosh on that because they didn't like other people making money? Because it was tens of millions, I think, when we looked into it. Or is it because they're setting up to do their own thing?
They want their own piece, buddy. They want their
Yeah.
piece.
They want to do their own thing, but I think they're stupid because it's already been established. I think they should have reached out to the people and say, hey, listen, we want to do our own thing. Can you run it for us?
Yes.
Or let us wet our beak. If they want their beak wet, then let them wet their beak instead of just.
First of all, second of all, I'm sure if these guys are making tens of millions, Microsoft will be making tens of billions, because they have a much wider range of people. So instead of them just wetting their beak, which is nasty, they can have them run it on their own thing and just kind of implement, make that an example of what you can do. Here's one of the worlds that come here, learn about it. They'll walk you through it. They'll show you stuff, and then you can purchase your own set of land that you can distribute, and this, and that.
I mean, Upland is headed the wet your beak model. They're bringing in third party developers.
Can we stop saying that word? Because you see, It bothers me. Yet you keep saying it.
He's definitely got a thing for noses and stuff. Yes.
So Upland wants to take a cut of rev, and that's the model they're headed, because they want to bring multiple developers into their ecosystem. They're calling Upland a platform, and they want to bring multiple developers into their ecosystem, rather than saying we're going to do one thing and one thing only, or we're going to do one thing 17 different ways. We're going to have 17 different people do their own thing, and we're going to take a percentage of that because they're doing it on our platform.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to work with it rather than just to kill it. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. Now, this next one, this is something that we've kind of touched on since the formation of the show, where we started talking in, people were investing millions in the metaverse, and then it became billions. So I've just picked this one just as an example, because some of these numbers that we're seeing kicking around nowadays is just incredible. So yeah, Shanghai aims to grow a 52 billion metaverse cluster by 2025. We covered this at the time, but there's been several Arab countries, the same thing, different, even just a province in China was investing some crazy amount of billions, and South Korea as well. So how do you see this all panning out in 2023? These companies, or these areas of cities, companies investing tens upon tens of billions. Obviously, that's got to start filtering through into something monumental at some stage.
I look forward to it. I mean, anything that has that much financial backing to it, I feel is going to be impressive. I don't know. I personally can't wait to see it.
Well, we had Tampa, right? That was doing something similar, where they were trying to create NFTs to push municipal bonds, and then they were going to turn those NFTs and the municipal bonds into ways to be interactive and have some type of future on that. I think it was just trying to pay their bills, but it was a concept of municipalities getting behind a digital space.
Yep. So yeah, it's, I guess it speaks back to the whole meta thing as well, like the amount of money that they're putting in, and all of the FUD articles are talking about how much money they've lost in the short term. But I think, what are they setting themselves up for in the long term? I think that's going to be the real key. Yeah. Scroll out, people, as we say, when you're looking at charts and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, take a bigger picture view of things.
No, I feel like we're still frontiers in this new space, and right now you just have to really be picking and choosing where you want to go. Like yeah, my first love is Upland, but there are so many other projects I'm involved in. There's another big one that me, Dak, and Mass are involved in, and like, I don't know, it's just gonna become more and more overwhelming as years go by. I feel like this is just the beginning and we haven't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, and there's so much money being put in here, there, and everywhere, but not all of these are going to survive. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
To wait and see.
Wait
Pump
and
my bags. That's what I say. Pump my bags. Yes. This next one it's kind of related to that follows on. If I go back to Sherry screen. So this was an interesting one at the time too. So I believe we're into July now. Chisels.
How NFTs bridge Web 2 and Web 3 companies, one metaverse at a time.
So there's a lot to unpack there just in that heading.
Yeah. It's like the fact that NFTs are going to bridge those two.
Yeah.
Web3 applications built on the blockchain and enhanced by decentralized assets like NFTs are ushering in a new era of how people connect, communicate, work, and play.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You want to dive into that one, Goldie?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about the stupid, I call them stupid monkeys, but the stupid monkeys, how they has that concept of gating. I'm not against the idea of gating. You trade and buy NFTs that allow people into different environments. Metaverses are not entirely or are not going to be entirely in one place or in one game format, but having NFTs to get into new places, having NFTs to have new experiences, NFT ticketing, that's all part of a metaverse that's going to blend gamification in a digital sense and the real life experiences. I mean, my tickets that I spent $60, I had to pay $60 to Ticketmaster for them to say, okay, you have a digital ticket. I should have a ticket that for $60 on top of the cost of actually paying Tay to perform for me, 60 feet in front of me. That $60, I wish that was a ticket that I could hold on for forever and show somebody in 12 months and say, oh, you want to buy that ticket? You can't actually go to the concert. It's already happened, but here's the commemoration of that thing, whatever that is. And now Ticketmaster has earned the $60 because now I can sell it for $150 in 2 years.
Yes, and cheese is getting hangry. Go and take a bite. Yes. Well, it's just the future of what's already existing. Like back in the day when I used to go to concerts all the time, I would always put the ticket stubs in the CD sleeve, like White Zombie is an example. I went to the White Zombie concert, I got the ticket and I put that in the CD sleeve. When it came time to when I sold those, they were far more valuable because I had that available. I think the whole metaverse NFT thing, like we've spoken about on this show, where it's just going to become mainstream. Like you're going to go to Starbucks, you're going to get your rewards card. It's going to be NFT based. Ticketing, pretty much any sort of online shopping experience can be NFTified, metaversified. Especially things like fast food experiences. There's just so much, everything like retail, fashion, you name it. There's an easy pathway to go from Web 2 to Web 3. It's just a matter of getting the core functionality in place and getting it in a digestible format.
I used to be like the bookkeeper in Goldman, and I used to have to chase these managing directors and VPs for their receipts for stuff. And if all they did was give me an address, their wallet address, and I could just check the blockchain, wow, how much easier would that have been, like, for my life and going forward for the admins and executive administrators to kind of like keep the books that way. That's going to be outstanding. Like,
or it becomes an automated process. You assign a bot to crawl that data as well, you know.
Yeah, but then you can't claim your stuff that you gave the stripper as your tips anymore. You gotta be like, I gave that to the
you're
stripper.
gonna make me not talk. I'm gonna go into my dark place.
I'm
like
sorry. I forgot.
I don't want to. This is not a bro show. This is, Jesus Christ.
Yes. Well, you can't hide things in blockchain is what he's basically trying to say. Yes.
You can't hide the bad stuff. You can't. People can't sneak the bad stuff, and I think that's what a little bit of the resistance has been is the people who like to get away with doing the bad stuff are like, oh crap, you're going to see everything I do in the light of the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, how easy will tax returns and things like that become if it's just all? But then a lot of people kind of fear that, like that whole numbers being automated process, because you get the tools behind that in the hands of the wrong people, and that could go south pretty quickly. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that push back against the digitization of the economy. Like, I think I've mentioned it several times on this show. I haven't had physical cash on my person or in my wallet for years now. So that's all at play as well.
I'm sure they'll have different credit cards for different things.
Yep.
They won't use their NFT credit card.
Yeah, we just don't. And you've spoken at length about this too, Cheese, where we don't want to have to have 700 different wallets for every place you go has a different metaverse, a different wallet. That's
going to be the case. Like for stuff like that, people will have their non-KYC invisible wallets that are inconspicuous, like that you can't trace or whatever, for stuff like that. Like, you just have to think and not be stupid.
Well, I mean, Atomic Hub, what was it, 2 months ago, Cheese, that they launched their multiple wallets? Like, you can link up to 9 wallets to Atomic Hub now. And that just hit like 2 months ago, maybe.
I have 4 wallets linked, but but like, if you want to hide stuff like that, you just don't link that wallet.
That particular one, yeah.
It's just like common sense.
Yeah, and we also saw that we've got the Ethereum bridge on the Q1 roadmap for Upland. I know, what's the other one? They've got Flow. I think that's in development as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that's all going to pan out. And I'm glad we got Goldie on, because Goldie, you can take over this one, because this next one's talking about how the successful Ethereum merge from proof of work to proof of stake. That was a pretty big milestone in the year as well.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? What were they originally calling it? Ethereum 2. Yeah. This idea. I mean, the other part about moving, migrating Ethereum was the transfer of value. I mean, it was like they were drying up on the transfer of value for the original minting. They no longer had and I mean, the pool was drying up, right? I mean, the idea of mining no longer made sense, and by migrating, they got a chance to start over. It was flip the switch, and I don't think we're going to see that in Bitcoin, but it seems like a pretty easy way out of running up against a pretty stiff or steep cliff if there is an end game in sight, and you say, oh, rather than accepting the end game, I'm going to start over again.
Yeah, and there's the whole the environmental aspect as well, like moving from the proof of work to proof of stake. There's been a lot of pushback against that.
I mean, yeah, the idea that 7 penguins have to die just for 1 Bitcoin to get made, that's tricky. Yeah, or just Bitcoin to be discovered, I should say. It takes 8 or 10 penguins now, and it used to be 1.
Yes. Yeah. So that's all at play as well. All right, where are we up to? I think we're in September. So I'm going to push the right button. So we're going back to old mate Oh, mate, Mark. Now, kind of at this stage of the year, this is where all the fuddy articles really started to kick in. I think, Cheese, this might have been that really long one that was hilariously written.
Oh yeah, this was definitely a FUD on him.
Yeah.
Someone who just does not like him at all personally. Opinion: the continued unraveling of Mark Zuckerberg's malicious metaverse. Almost nobody seems to believe that Horizon Worlds can become the next Facebook that's worth celebrating. So he truly does have an agenda against Mark, and this is definitely an opinion piece that
But I think it was this one that it was just so well written, like that we couldn't help but be impressed by it. It was kind of funny. But yes, it was just one part of a whole wave of FUD kicking back, and a lot of that had to do with the share price, and it was in every other article. Facebook has lost billions on Mark Zuckerberg's failed ploy to embrace the metaverse, but it's just a reflection of the wider, you look at any chart at that moment, everything's tanked.
yeah, and he's really trying his best to make his metaverse very personalized to people, customized. Like, he wants people to go in there like completely as themselves, as if you were really there, with nothing on your person that has to be there to pick up movement and whatnot. Like, imagine you and me meeting for coffee in the metaverse, Ben, and like all the expressions you make, all the expressions I make are visible. Like, we have our, like, hey buddy, what's up, give 5, go have a coffee, you tell me a joke, and I'm like, oh, you're so stupid, and like you can see my expression clearly.
Well, it's a good point, because a lot of we can speak to the drama that we've been through this year. A lot of the kind of community drama, it's initiated by the limitations of text-based communication. Like, if you're in Upland General or you in DMs, you can type something in text, but without the kind of, whether it be the audio context or especially, like you said, the facial context, things can be taken the wrong way very easily, and that can snowball into which it has multiple times this year, snowball into a whole bunch of drama that's just a whole bunch of wasted space, because at the core of it was a misunderstanding. So
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know, Goldie, what was your take on all of that FUD associated with Meta and the markets and the business and whatnot?
Well, I think part of what and again, FUD is FUD, right? So people want to sow, discontent, and it just snowballs. But part of what it was is the focus the right place? Is Mark focusing on one thing rather than another? There are genuine questions there, but the idea that one person doesn't understand it, and since they don't understand something, they want to push a snowball down the hill. I think that's something it's still going to take a little while to unravel. But it was definitely more of a matter of one person not being ready for the world to change, and a bunch of people jumping on board because they're like, hey, I like the old world too.
Yeah,
like I think the article would be viable if he had a basis of comparison, but the fact that he just kind of put it down without having any kind of substantial real facts to give, like compared to, let's say, Sandbox or Decentraland or whatnot, then it's just really an ignorant person who doesn't understand.
Yeah, it was clearly FUD for clicks.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, the one thing that I keep reflecting back on when people talk about Meta or anybody trying to move into the metaverse, you might know this, Cheese, you might know this, Ben. I know you come from a development background. How long in dev is a AAA game, usually a traditional AAA game, that doesn't go through a alpha and a beta period?
Yeah.
So what, 3 to 5 years?
20 years, yeah, easily. Yep.
So I look at it as a cycle. It has to be a cycle.
And then a lot of those games too, I've seen this with maybe not AAA games, but some kind of big indie games where they haven't kind of put a lot of that better testing system in place, and then they release a game, and then there's all sorts of, whether it be exploits or, you know, glitches and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it can go both ways. But then there's been other cases where games have been in beta for forever. So it's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
Rust, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there's a bunch of those open world games that they've never stopped developing, and they're still fixing things that have been there for 3 years.
7 Days to Die.
Oh, I was gonna drop that. I want to let you have your baby.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad it's still in beta, because like 3 to 4, maybe sometimes 5 times a year, they're adding so much more stuff to it. So instead of getting this one game, you're getting this continuous game that changes all the time, and you get to experience it over and over again with the new features. And I kind of really love that, to be honest.
It can be a trap though, and I think this is what Upland has suffered from, is this, we're in beta, but there's a feature creep trap where if you're constantly chasing these new features, you're never going to get out of beta.
That's okay with me.
Mm-hmm. I do think that there's like, the mechanics have to work too. You know, if you want to keep adding features, you have to at least have the mechanics from the previous thing work. Like, you can't have the transfer of assets through stores get stuck all the time. Like,
a lot of the mobile games that I used to beta test for, like, the game would have a beta period and all the testers would go in and give their feedback. The game would release, and then of course the team would continue working on stuff, but they wouldn't live release new features. The beta testers would get those in advance, to be a separate update on test flight or something, so that you can still be in, you're better testing the new features. You're not better testing the whole game all of the time.
You mean sandboxing actually exists in some games?
Apparently so, yes. Yeah, so I don't know. She must be curing her hangry. How are you doing?
I smell the sandwich. Yeah, I smell the sandwich. When Cheese's camera went dead, I was like, oh, she's
oh,
getting
he
the
was
sandwich.
so, look, he did it fancy. Look at the little loops. That's fake turkey, by the way.
That looks good.
All right,
real cheese, fake turkey. Real cheese, but fake turkey.
There you go. Juicy. All right, now this next one, this is something as well that we've touched on all through the history of the show. We've laughed, we've sniggered, we've oohed, we've ahed, and that's haptics. Now, again, there's significant investment kicking off with all of these haptic things, whether it be, haptic like this one, touching the metaverse, haptic glove maker, grabs 23 million to fuel commercialization. Yeah, haptic gloves, haptic vests, you name it, we're going to have it. Where do you see all this headed to?
I think it's awesome. This is a perspective of a gamer who likes to shoot things and people. Just to feel the gun in your hand and like be able to like if you're reloading it, like just get the full feel of it. Like if you're in a zombie apocalypse and you're shooting dead people, well, to make them more dead. You're not going to just go pew 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 on like a controller. You want to hold that gun. You want to get the full experience of it, get the immersion. And I would definitely love to try something like that out.
Yeah, it speaks to the juice. Like if I go back to what I said about mobile beta testing games, a lot of feedback we'd give is, yeah, the game is awesome, but it doesn't have enough juice. You want like if you hit something, you want to feel the vibration, you want to see some kind of reaction. Cheese always goes to the dark side with that sort of stuff, but it doesn't have to be about murder and all that stuff. It could be as simple like, I don't know, like some kind of baby raising simulator or something like that. You still, you got to feed your baby, change your baby's nappy. It doesn't have to go to the extreme.
Oh, I'm getting a haptic suit and I'm going to get the massage right at the house. I don't have to leave the house. I don't have to worry about does my masseuse have a cold? Yep. And theoretically, if the suit has everything it needs, it's going to be 2 steps beyond using a stupid machine with the balls that roll around because
Yep.
now it's a human touch, but it's just translated over 600 miles or even 6. It could be somebody in my hometown, but I don't want to get a cold because we're now in this world of rolling colds. Nobody wants to get sick when there's a serious one out there. Are we moving that way? I think.
Well, are you going to have
we-
like a whole machine in your house that kind of like
Like a haptic suit he's talking
yeah,
about.
a
oh,
haptic
haptic
suit.
suit?
Yeah, you put your suit on. Maybe you have to lay down. I don't know, but you put your suit on. Maybe you lay down, and now this person is human touch. But you don't have to be next to the person sneezing or wheezing.
Yeah, or it could be a program or something like that, a particular program you like. And
That
of course,
reminds me of Buck with the demon
Eddie.
serial
Oh.
killer babies.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was
Ah,
such a
yes.
great episode.
yes, through the year.
Hey,
And like,
we
check-
were- oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, finish
I
your
was
thought.
just gonna say that when we were in Vegas, we went to the operations of Upland. Really nice guy. I hate that I can't remember his name, but Buck introduced me to him, and he was just telling him all these ideas.
Just bombarding him.
He was bombarding him, but the guy was so cool, laid back and friendly. He was just listening to them and laughing, and it was just so cool to have Buck on the Wine and Cheese that one time. That was fun.
Yeah, well, Buck came into the community with like just ideas coming out all over the place, and it was cool to see. Like, he wasn't just thinking up these ideas; he's going out there. He's making QR codes. He's pasting them all around the place and doing all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, that was really cool. He's getting in contact with in real life businesses and trying to onboard them and that sort of stuff. So, very
He
awesome.
showed me some really impressive things, like especially this wood business card that
Yep.
turns into like some sort of NFT. If you hold it at an angle, it like starts like you see something on it moving. It was just so cool and technical. Like,
Yeah, I mean, going back to haptics, like we've joked through the show like about how that's related to porn, and we have a bit of a giggle and that sort of thing, but we do know that porn is at the forefront of a lot of the technology that we take for granted today. Porn was at the forefront of that, so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out as well.
I want my haptic suits just for massage. I don't want to go beyond that. Come on.
sure.
Yes. He's got the receipt to prove it. Yes. All right, so that's, I think we're still in September. No, we've kicked over to October. So this was a good one.
Showrooms
First
are now
ever.
open. Woo!
But-
Well, that was quick,
Not
wasn't
really.
it? Wasn't that quick from the beginning to when they were actually open?
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
like 18, 20 months or something like that, I think. Yes. Well, it was kind of a fizzler. It was showrooms are now open, but we had no time whatsoever to prepare inventory. So, yes, while technically the showrooms were open, at least for us, we didn't officially open for another whole month.
Can you see what the price is on that medium
Yeah.
statue?
Yeah, and you know what's most
say.
nutty about that?
Green.
What's most nutty about that? Oh, that price on the statue.
2 million.
Yeah. 3 million, almost 3 million.
Yeah.
So it was 2,857,970. So that was priced at 2,750,000 plus the fee. That's
Yep.
funny. I like that
Yes.
cheese. It's worth it.
Yeah, so it was kind of, it was good. I mean, we talked about this yesterday on the New Year's show, where the whole idea of the outdoor decor business, that's what started everything for my involvement, at least in Upland, and everything that came, from that, whether it be UDU, MBE, it all stemmed from that first announcement about outdoor decor shops. So yeah, it was cool to see that come to fruition. It was very weird to live through that, where we had been essentially the middle redhead child for ages, just ignored for almost 20 months. And then it was within that last month, it was okay, rightio, now you have factories available. Where you go? Oh, showrooms are available. Now showrooms are open. You're open for business. And we're like, what? Hang on a minute. Yeah, it was just like, it's just so crazy at the end. So yeah, but it was good to see. what did I say? That was October.
That was September, I thought, right?
October.
Was it October? Oh, was it October?
Yes, because then we had our official openings on November. Almost, I think it was November the 12th, wasn't it? It was November, mate. Yes. Now this next one, this was the big news and is still ongoing. So this was in the start of November as well. This is what kicked it all off.
Oh, yeah.
Binance to liquidate its entire FTX token holdings after recent revelations. Wow.
Yeah, so the Binance CEO, old mate, cited recent revelations as a reason for the liquidation, noting that the sale of its token could take months to complete due to the size of its position. So this was the house of cards. This was pulling out the keystone card, and it all just collapsed, and very quickly from there.
Wow.
So yeah, FTX is something that we kind of weren't even aware of it at the time, but we touched on it all through the show. Like FTX was a massive sponsor of the Mercedes Formula One team. Remember they had that whole NFT where you could, if you bought the NFT, if you bought the NFT, you got a replica Formula One car and all sorts of stuff. FTX was behind all of that. But so many people have done their ass. And Sam Bankman-Fried, did you see he just got he was just on a South Park episode or something?
Oh,
I haven't watched it myself yet.
I have to see it. If it's new, I'll see it.
That was fast, huh?
Yeah.
They're good. Oh, they're fast, yes.
Yeah. Although I did read something on Twitter, because the Binance CEO, he's actually made that his profile picture at the moment. It's his face being in the South Park style.
Mm-hmm.
He said something like something about it was funny to have hair on his avatar in South Park, but he just wished it was under better circumstances or something. And somebody replied that it was a fan made. So I'm not sure if that's legit or not yet. So I'll have to check it out. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to speak to that whole collapse? That was, wow, so many people. If you're a follower of what is it, the crypto coin confessions on Twitter, some of the stuff that's come out of that about people.
Really? Oh, that sounds so sad.
You know, like dying fathers giving their children their inheritance and saying, you know, invest this in something solid for your future, and they put it all into FTX and lost a lot. And yeah, it's
like teachers' pensions and stuff. So I mean, like real money headed into FTX. It wasn't just like people popping $1,000 out because they get their tax refund and let's see what happens. It's unfortunately, it's people. This is money people relied on for later in their life.
Yeah, absolute fortunes.
Is this like a Binance? So was this caused by Binance doing what they did?
That would be unfair to say that. It was Binance kind of lifting up the bed sheets to show all of the cockroaches underneath it, and then just kind of putting it down again.
Well, wasn't it actually the reason they looked was because they were doing due diligence in order to do a buyout? So there was going to be a buyout. They did due diligence, and then they said, I'm running away from here as fast as we can.
I think there was something triggered the initial deeper dive. And then this whole FTX thing kicked off. And once the collapse started happening, then Binance said, "Oh, we're going to buy it. Don't worry, we're going to buy it out." But then they looked even deeper, and they were like, "Oh, we ain't touching this with a 10-foot pole."
By the time they get the books in their hand, yeah.
That's so sad. That's crazy.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it just speaks. It goes back to that thing, you know, especially for the, what do you call it, the mum and pop investors. You know, don't invest more than you're willing to lose.
Spread it out.
You just really can't.
Yeah, it's not even mom and pop. It's like, you know, if it's your pension fund, you're not the one who made that decision.
Yeah, it was out of your hands. Yeah. So, and like I said, that's still all yet to play out. Who talked about on the UDU podcast last week that they're only just now getting they're excited about getting their Mount Gox settlement? Who was that?
Oh gosh,
was it JR Wheels or somebody?
I believe so. I believe it was JR.
Apologies if we got that mixed up, but yeah, and look at that. That was 2013 or something crazy. So yeah. So all of these people that have done their ass in FTX now, yeah, you may get some of that back at some stage, but definitely ain't going to be anytime soon.
Well, but they don't have much assets to come and recoup after. That's the problem. Is their real holdings are limited. I mean, what do they own? Well, they own naming rights to all these stadiums. You can't split that up 100 ways.
Yeah, and they own shit tons of their own token that is now essentially worthless. So, yeah.
Ugh.
It's such a weird system though, isn't it? That you can create a cryptocurrency out of thin air. It can become worth billions and you get billions more invested in that token. And then the whole thing can just disappear in a tweet.
Well, that thing was they were involved in those ridiculous leveraging things where you would like, I'm going to stake 1,000 Bitcoin or whatever. 1,000 Bitcoin is a ridiculous number, but I'm going to stake about 1,000 Bitcoin and you're going to give me back 23%. The reason why you're giving back 20% because I'm betting on stupid risky bets. And when you get involved in that, that's where money goes away really fast. Because again, everything looks good when everything's going up. When everything's going up at 10% every year, it looks good. The second it goes the other way, there's only so many months of reserve before something like that just falls apart. House of cards.
Yeah, it's what did we call that in Japan? The first company I worked for in Japan was, I think they called it a bicycle model. So it's all well and good, while the company's still pedaling the wheels, and they were essentially using the funds that they would get in to keep the bike moving. But once the bike stopped moving, the whole thing just tips over.
Yeah, exactly. It's not truly a pyramid, maybe, but it's perpetual, right? So in order to be perpetual, you have to have outside, influence to push things along.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, the other big news that dropped in November, of course, was the FIFA World Cup Upland partnership. Now, at the time, we got together. We had like a mini council. I think that's what we called it. Together in that was the Whine and Cheese show, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah, and the more that we talked about it, the more we got excited about it. How we were expecting
so many people to come in,
massive things to come of what we were expecting. I think we saw a lot of the existing community go gangbusters and crazy, but if you look at any of the stats and that sort of stuff, I don't think we saw anywhere near the amount of people onboarded that we were kind of expecting. What do you think the reason for that is?
Advertising.
I mean, the one thing that really took me aback when I heard about it was Upland inked this deal less than 3 weeks before the ball dropped in the group stages, which means they were not in a position to advertise FIFA ahead. If they had gotten the deal 6 months ahead, 4 months ahead, wherever the case was, and they've got these things popping up throughout, all the countries that are getting excited about FIFA and said, we're going to be involved in FIFA. We're going to be involved in FIFA 2 months ahead, 4 months ahead, or they had 2 months ahead. Sometimes you have to buy like display ads. Sometimes you have to buy display ads in blocks 3 weeks ahead. So they didn't have the opportunity to buy those ads because they were literally 3 weeks ahead of the whole thing kicking off. But the punchline is they didn't onboard with it, but they essentially got a sellout. So they got a sellout of all of their assets without bringing new people in. It's good for Upland, but you miss some of that benefit that the community hoped we'd get by expansion of player base.
Absolutely. And that's a good point that I hadn't even considered. Yeah. Think about, was it in the lead up to, what city was it where they had the subway advertisement? It wasn't Manhattan, was it? Was it Brooklyn or
Bronx? Oh, Bronx. Yeah. Bronx. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they continued to run some of those ads, and people were hinting, "Oh shoot, are we going to get Queens?" And we got Queens because those ads were still out there, or they had renewed some of those ads or whatever it was. So they still had those ads that ran through Queens. They ran through Queens into Manhattan. That Upland, and then we got Queens after.
Yeah, so you did right. That would have had to been front loaded well in advance to get that all set up and ready.
There was a lot of really great people that came in during the Bronx Open, and what they were doing is they would take pictures next to the advertisements that got them into the game, and you saw how fast the Bronx minted out. It was like 14 minutes at most.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
The whole
was it
city
4? Yeah, was it 14 for regulars, and then like for FSA it took another 40 minutes or something stupid like that? It was just incredible. Within an hour, gone.
Yes, and poor old Cheese. That's the time when she went to go for a node, and I mean, we did so well in the end. Like considering how fast the entire city just got eaten, we did well to claim your little patch of dirt.
We made it work.
I mean, to be fair, because you had to claw and fight for Bronxdale, I mean, it's one of the heavier valued nodes, you know, per UP2 of anywhere, because you had to fight and claw to get it.
Yeah, a second largest node in the UDU.
Absolutely.
Just a bit ahead of Musita's node, Strupwood.
As far as percentage developed, yeah, Finsky. I know I was going to mention.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, what?
Finsky, our new executive manager, has turned into a spammer. He was spamming all the channels with the same thing.
I love it though. Like I love it because
ban yourself.
No, don't contain yourself, because like me, I'm the kind of person that if it's statistics and numbers like that, I love it. Like I'll see it every day, all day.
Maybe I can just bring that up so people, you know, we do stuff like that every now and then. Not that one, this one. So I'll just ping up Strupwood. So Finsky spammed this in all of the main. So these are the UDU neighborhood nodes. So yes, Midtown Terrace, 81.8% developed. Lone Mountain, 18%. Come on, Pod. School, come on, Uplando, 13%. Strupwood, 37.8%. And Bronxdale, 39.5%. And what did you say? What's your goal for 2023? I did see you had
over 75% developed.
Well, that's definitely doable, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Century,
like
Century
right. The only reason why it's taking so long is because we're getting the apartments first. So once the apartments are mostly done and we start going into the smaller ones, those are going to go like that. And
that's I had a look a couple of days ago. Actually, I was looking at my stock there. There's several properties there where it's still too small to even fit the chode home, the micro house.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about that at length when that first dropped too. Like that micro house, it's still not micro.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? The super micro?
What I've been saying this right along. I mean, it's the girth. It's the girth that matters when it comes to a property. How wide is that property? We have all of these French fries in Manhattan and in Brooklyn where you cannot put a property. They could be up to 25 UP2. I've seen a lot of them. They're up to 25 UP2. You can't put a chode home on there.
And the frustrating thing is, you go to Street View and there's a 3-story townhouse on it. Like what?
No, not even 3-story townhouses. Sometimes there's side by sides. I own a property in New Orleans that is an apartment building. Like there's like 6 units. You cannot put a structure on it in Upland. Nuts.
Yeah, I've been saying since day one when the first kind of release of property development started that the scale just seems way out. You know. So,
who knows? Maybe Uplanders just eat a lot of French fries. They want to give them more room in the doorways. I don't know.
Yes. So, but yeah, there's several properties of mine in Bronxdales that can't do anything with at the moment. So maybe that will change with user-generated content. Like I'm expecting big things for that in 2023, whether that be cars or, you know, we said decor, ornaments, structures. Hopefully that becomes. I'd like to see that become a core foundation rather than a kind of biannual feature.
Well, Lily made a really nice property build for the Bronx, and she wasn't picked. And I was so disappointed. She did it just for me because I was like, oh my God, I have so many properties here I can't build on.
Oh, nice.
I would really like that. And she made something really nice. It was thin, but it was beautiful. And I was just so I was like, oh my God, why didn't she win? Like, but I could see someone like her creating a blueprint shop that created stuff like that we needed, and I would love to see that personally.
I mean, that's assuming they can get the footprints right. Remember the Lily Corp? Remember how big the footprint was on the tower initially?
Well, you know, you got to have that extra space. We have those concrete pavers or whatever around it. I don't know. I don't know what that was all about, but no, like New Orleans, they had there's this thing called a shotgun or a double shotgun. You know, very narrow house, double shotgun, two of them stacked together, still more narrow than a chode home. That was put out there as to be voted on or to be potential, and they ended up with a Grand Victorian, which is reminiscent of New England and not so reminiscent of New Orleans. So it was like, did we really need this structure in this place, or do we need that narrow one to fill out places that cannot get structures now? So hopefully they correct that, at least when we get, structure blueprints.
Absolutely. All right. So I think we're getting towards the tail end here. We've kicked on into, now we're at December. And of course, the big news in December, how could you miss this one? This was just.
And before we go on to this, for future, I think they should put these things that you pick that were player made. I don't think they should put the names of the players who made them. I know the players are probably shouted out, but
in voting, you mean in the voting?
In voting, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they need royalties.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So
Donald
this was
Trump.
the big one. This was the big one in December. I mean, if you didn't see the Donald Trump NFT ad, stop watching this video and go and watch that one, because it was glory, 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 hallelujah. Yes.
Donald Trump just launched an NFT collection. Here's what you need to know.
So yeah, there was two aspects of this. It was the cringe factor. It was just the wording of it. The stuff he was saying about the other presidents was just hilarious.
Not NFTs though. The digital trading cards.
Yes.
But I know we know that you use whatever term you want. But I thought this was a good highlight of this idea of the language war. We had the Blu-ray versus the HD, and they were technically different, but it was a language war. Who can market better? But there are people who are afraid of the term NFT, and they're just pushing things like digital collectible, digital trading cards, and it's just all it is an art NFT.
Well, it was funny in his kind of pitch. He mentioned both. He went, he was saying it's NFTs, but then he said, tradable cards like baseball cards and this, that, and the other thing. So he was kind of playing both fields. But then, of course, we had not long after the follow-up.
Donald Trump NFTs under fire for internal minting, design plagiarism.
Yes, so the internal minting, it's the Donald Trump wallet appears to have scored many of the rares and the ultra rares and all of that. Somehow they managed to mint all of those for themselves. And then, of course, there was...
Shoot, I didn't know about that part.
So there was supposed to be like there's supposed to be a rarity hit, right?
Yeah.
Wow. It's like we're going to buy 12 of our own. They just so happen to be the rares.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
That's the most Trump of Trump things to do, though. Oh,
I didn't know about that part.
I mean, to be fair, we, with the Outdoor Decor Shop, we kind of did something similar where, like, the mint number 1s to 10 of the Samurai Surfer statue, we did that as a silent reverse auction. So we put those up every day at a high price, and every day we reduced those by 100K. Once those got down into the 400, 200K range, I bought 4 of them myself, I think. And you
I bought
one?
number 2.
Well,
Yeah. But they were given they were given the opportunity to buy them at
that's the
slightly
difference.
higher. We waited till it got to the very, very bottom.
Yeah, it's an open sale versus a closed sale, and if you're doing internal minting, that's a closed sale. When you claim a rarity hit, that's just disgusting. Disgusting.
Yes. And then, of course, there's a whole thing where that art, the vast majority of the art was plagiarized, or I don't think it's been proven or disproven yet whether they use the AI bot generators to do the art.
It felt like it, didn't it? When you looked at those,
Yeah.
It's like my first thought was like somebody typed in "idiot in space" and there poof, that came up that image.
Yes, well, yeah. So as we mentioned when we covered it further, we weren't really interested in the whole politics of it. It was more it was Donald Trump, the personality. That's what we were kind of focused on, and just the balls and the no fucks given was just hilarious.
Oh, I didn't know there was any politics involved with Trump. I thought it was just personality.
This is true. I
Well,
agree
yeah.
with that.
How far do you want to peel the onion? Yes, absolutely. All right, so I think there's a couple more to wrap up on. There's 2 more here, so bear with us. Let me X out of those to save my computer. Now, of course, this is the big news as well. I've got here the global crypto market cap. We'll just go for the 1 yearly. And we started off the year at a, what was it, a $2.2 trillion market cap. And yes, currently we're down in the just under 800 billion. So, I mean, that has to be a major feature of the year to reflect on for sure.
I still think it's gonna pick up. I think we had a bad couple of years with the COVID, and things are just coming back into play. We can't just pretend COVID didn't happen and like businesses were closed and things, went very ugly. I have a feeling that it is gonna start, going back to where it was, if not more, with the whole working from home, metaverse, NFT stuff like blockchain. I think it's going to start repairing.
Yep. 1 trillion market cap. That was my trigger to start dollar cost averaging back in. I think I started around this kind of June, July mark. As I always say, with anything to do with crypto, of course, it's not financial advice. Do your own research, yada, yada. You always got to scroll out. I mean, just scroll out, people. Like, look where we're headed. Either crypto is going to just plummet and die, or it's going to bounce back.
It'll bounce back. That's the Head and Shoulders.
Yeah.
I feel like part of what rose crypto, though. I mean, to be fair, I've got crypto just like most of us, but I think part of what bumped it up is what I call stupid money. People were getting money that they didn't feel like they earned. The stimulation money that was coming in a lot of countries to everybody, because of the market conditions, and some of that money did definitely go into crypto, because people were looking for new solutions to existing problems. And again, the crash out, or the depression of that market, I think was partially people taking profits. So I mean, I think there definitely is room to grow, but stupid money, or money, money that doesn't feel like there's effort or energy behind it, people do treat that differently than if it's I made blank amount a year by working blank number of hours.
Yeah. I mean, I stopped buying all crypto altogether at around this kind of mark here where it dipped. In hindsight, I should have kept dollar cost averaging all the way through. I think, just as a personal thing, again, not financial advice, I think I'm going to use that 1 trillion market cap. That's going to be my line. If we're below that, I'll keep dollar cost averaging. If we bump above that, well, I might just sit down and see where we go. That's kind of my overview. But again, I'm not taking massive chunks, and I'm not trying to catch falling knives. I've set it up so every single day it's automated. I have my bag targets, and every week I just put in what I'm willing to lose for that week, and it is what it is.
Sorry.
I just noticed how long this was. 2.5 hours.
I told you it was going to be a long one.
Well,
I sent the message of I'm sorry already.
Yeah.
I already apologized, Cheese. I put that in the chat. Can I ask the question for the over under of how many crypto commercials are going to be in the Super Bowl this year? Because I think it's going to be less than last year for sure.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think it'll be more.
What's the over under for you?
Before, they had a lot of like car companies, a lot of this. I think you're gonna see
all sorts.
you're gonna see a lot more, like, or for banks, you're gonna see maybe even like Animoca will put something in there.
You think more than last year?
Yeah.
And you, Ben, do you think more or less than last year?
I think more. I think regardless, because there's still a lot of people building like crazy, even though we're in a bear market. Like, if I just look at Formula One as an example, most of the Formula One teams now have some sort of crypto related sponsorship, I think there's only one direction that's going to go through. And I think that will bleed through to most of sport. We have seen, you look at the history of sport in Australia, at least, or motor racing in general, it was always heavily tobacco based. And then that got pushed away, and then it kind of switched to alcohol, and then that's kind of been pushed away. And then it always involves. So I think kind of crypto Web3, that's probably the next iteration of that.
So you think that, I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I know that FTX isn't going to advertise this year.
No, definitely.
Toy.
Yes, but
Toy.
Binance might, who knows? So, we just lost you there.
You there, Goldie?
Uh-oh.
I said, wouldn't that be great if they pre-bought the commercial space and it ran anyways?
Oh my gosh.
Well, they could always resell it.
Yes. We thought your battery pack in your helicopter ran out then. We haven't been running long. All right. I think I've got one more to touch on, and this will wrap us up. So this was a good one. We did have a laugh at this when it happened, but Cheese, there has been an update. Like we said with the Seth Green NFT one, there has been an update on this. Check this out.
EU Metaverse party wins big from epic failure.
So at the time, they'd spent, what was it, 400,000 euros to put this metaverse experience together, and like 6 people showed up or something.
Yeah.
But it's turned around, Cheese. All of that FUD. It's like what's the saying? Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. Any press is good press, and any publicity is good publicity. Yeah.
So they've turned it around. So it's actually become a thing because everybody's wanted to go and laugh at it. They've gone and checked it in, and now it's found an audience. So,
oh my God, I'm looking at the stuff on the right side, and I shouldn't be, but I see that haptic.
Squirreled.
Oh, go down.
Yes.
Haptic gloves let people touch each other.
Oh, 10,000 miles away, you still want to.
Your massage, Goldie.
Yeah, I don't want to be touched like that. No, I mean the haptic suit. You could do a program, and you do the program of like, and again, not to go to the porn angle, because I know so much of the haptic goes to porn angle. But you have that porn angle where people had that thing where you could go, where they did the body models of all the porn stars, and you could do like one of the world's best massage therapist. That you go get the settings for the world's best massage therapist, and they give you a massage. But I honestly think that the point of massage is like having that response, the haptic response. So the masseuse would have to feel where it's tense and then respond accordingly.
Oh, I would more like a live thing. Yeah.
It would have to be live, but I would, I would still pay a little bit. I wouldn't pay an actual massage prices, but pay a little bit for a pre-recorded best masseuse in the world.
So that's interesting. So you're talking about haptic feedback that goes bi-directional. It goes both ways.
The gloves would have to be like, oh God, that guy's got a lump in his back. What's that all about?
Yeah. Wow,
you're real tight. You're real tight, Goldie.
Oh boy, we could go there, but we won't. Yes.
I was gonna go there. Stopping me.
I said we started at porn. I didn't say we're ending at porn.
Oh, I think we should end with Ben's shirt.
All right, so what have we got? We got, I'm all asked about. That's a flying, what do you call it? Like a flying squirrel, but they're not squirrels. Yeah, and we've got wombats, dingoes, platypi. Yeah, it's an Australian.
Little koala. That's so cool. I like that. It's cute.
Dingoes, yes.
I think I like your baby.
Yeah, so 2022 was a hell of a year. I mean, like I said, I gave props to Cheese at the start of the show. I didn't actually, one thing I should have done is look at how many episodes we did do this year. We did see that our show evolved, where we were heavily kind of interview based, and we kind of kept it more free form through the year. But we're definitely open to having people on board. That's what this show was, aside from the whining aspect. This show was created to help highlight, small underground projects within the community. It was that was created at the time where the UDU podcast was pretty well locked down to mostly just UDU stuff, but we have seen that evolve through the year as well. So now what has been really exciting with that is we've opened that up to the wider community. There's a lot more, co-hosts getting involved and this, that, and the other thing. So yes, between the UDU podcast and between the Whine and Cheese show, we have many avenues to, highlight different projects. And how do people do that, Cheese? It's a very difficult process, isn't it, to get involved in one of our shows?
Just contact Ben or I. That's it. And if you want to come on and you just want to have advertisement space, we keep that extremely cheap. Like, it doesn't even go over 10K UpX, and all of those proceeds go to prizes. Like, we keep nothing. We actually pay more. We're losing money.
Well, every week for the UDU podcast, I send Finsky 25K. That's UDU specific. And then we do a weekly challenge, and that's up to 25K as well. So that's 50K a week that we put into that. Sponsorship for the UDU podcast, it starts at 5K. Like, it's a token, basically.
Yeah. And it all goes back into the show. And Ben and I definitely, I have the more behind the scenes costs. He has the more upfront costs.
Yep.
And the NFTs, like those are free. All you have to do is watch the show and do the challenges. Like, after that, you're going to pay for them, because I do have ideas for utility for the new year, and I've been working on it. But more of that later. I don't want to expose anything too soon.
Yes. Goldie, you sound like you want to jump in.
Well, I was going to say is that you didn't make everybody else do a blood test before they come on, and I thought that was everybody.
Used to be. It used to be a very convoluted process.
I was making a joke about biometrics and putting a lot of effort into trying to be a guest, but
yes,
apparently that's only me.
I don't get that. You get it, Sven.
He'll follow up with you later. That's what we've got going on. I don't know, Cheese. Do you see we're just going to continue that on next year? It's going to be pretty much the same. Who knows? We might evolve further. We don't know where we're going to end up, but
it'll be better. It'll be a better, positive evolution. And the only reason why we took a break from the guests for a bit was because I had burnout. It happens. The Cheese burns out. I was doing NFTs. I was behind. I still have to do Mes Me, but the holidays got in the way. I will start working on that this weekend. I haven't forgot about you, Mes Me. And I'm getting better. I'm getting quicker. I'm live streaming more. That's another goal I want to do, is live stream, because it kind of makes me finish and doesn't have me squirrel to something else. Like, if I have an audience, it's actually better for me. So if you see me in not the video game chat, but the talk chat, come visit, come watch me art, hold me to my shit.
Nice. And that's what we've got going on now. I have heard a few rumors that you might have something going on in 2023 as well, Goldie. Can you give us any info on that?
Yes.
Oh yeah. That's official, right? So Uplando spent, I don't know, 18 months, year and a half with the Uplando show. We funny enough, we did a format change last year, beginning of the year 2022, where it wasn't entire year with the shows where he did his thing and I came on and did my thing, and did a little bit of banter in between all throughout the year. I mean, that was literally a year's worth of shows. It ran over 200. It was 5 days a week. We did weekend shows for a short period of time, and that dried up because Uplando wanted to have a life. Go figure. But we ended up with doing 200 plus shows of this format of 5 days a week, and news information and a little bit of community highlight. And Uplando has life come up and is going to go live life for a bit, or at least in the immediate future, going to do the things that he has to do to keep to have a job and have sanity too. So he can't spend his sanity points in Upland as much as I'm going to spend my sanity points in Upland, or hopefully keep a couple at the end of the year, but keeping that daily tradition going of at 10 o'clock 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. That's 7 p.m. PT. Having a daily show, news of the day, the officials that the team puts out. Team is doing a better job than ever. I don't know if you guys like pump this out or not, but that little button in the lower left-hand corner, that's everything. Now all information that Upland is putting in Discord is now there. So trying to shift a little bit of that focus to communities, communities within the game, third-party development, UGC, the things that people aren't seeing in those official announcements, things that are happening in the community that you really have to have your eyes open in the community for to see, and bringing some of the stuff that happens in potential other Discords or in other businesses surrounding Upland back into Upland. So we're going to be doing more interviews. I already have a little bit of feedback that we're going to have more interviews, more time to bring the team on, the Upland team on for interviews and to talk about what's going on outside of what's printed and what's put out there in official announcements. And obviously, just like you guys have been doing an incredible job of even outside of Upland, just all the hundreds of projects we didn't. I had no involvement other than being there, but there was a parade of nodes last night that was done.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting to listen back to the recording of that.
Yeah, you were supposed to be there, but you were like trying to live life or something apparently.
Oh, I've got bills to pay and I got a job to work. Yes,
exactly. Time zones didn't line up like time zones often don't line up, but the parade of nodes. So that type of idea where we can highlight different communities that people don't even know are there. So we're going to be doing a lot more of the undiscovered, unseen stuff, because ultimately that's what makes the metaverse, is that it's a lot of different projects all happen in the same space.
Oh, that's exciting. I knew you were potentially kicking something off, but I didn't know it was to that extreme. That's awesome. So one thing that comes to mind is I used to enjoy listening to Uplando's show when I was doing the dishes, but obviously he was smashed to get those uploaded on the Spotify's up in the podcast format. Is that something you're going to pursue?
Yeah, so I am looking at potentially Monday, potentially Tuesday, not worrying about the recording. Trying to get through the idea of format before I get through the idea of making sure the technology works.
Yep.
And then very early on, that is the goal here. Is I've already talked to people in Europe. I've already talked to some people in Australia, obviously, about being a recorded format gives people the opportunity to listen. It's not a visual. I'm a freaking sandwich who wants to look at a sandwich all day long. But they want to eat that sandwich, but they don't want to look at it. But it is audio format. It's something you can theoretically listen to while you're doing the dishes, while you're driving back and forth to work. And we do want to be able to put it out. And I think the tradition of the worst show ever, I can't do it with my hands because I got no camera on, but the worst show ever, where we try to put things out quickly and record as well as possible up front. And then not spend 16 hours doing editing, so we can hopefully get things out more quickly. Being able to have contemporaneous to can't be the same time, obviously, but at least very, very quickly thereafter, so people can have access to those theoretically the next day.
I like the mistakes. I have to say, it's like I hate seeing anything too perfect because it's not reality. I like seeing people just kind of. Like I'll watch the UPX podcast and I like the back and forth banter. Sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's joking between Too Stupid and TML. And it's always exciting, like, oh, he said that, how is TML gonna respond? Or oh, TML said that, how is Too Stupid gonna respond? Like you edit that stuff out and then it just becomes disingenuous,
What? The funniest joke in podcasting is, okay, we'll edit that out in post. And then you hear them say, oh, we'll edit that out in post in the actual version that goes out there. And I think that's people are looking for that in a podcast style, is that it feels more live. It's not a TV show where there was 17 takes. And if the guy sneezed in one of them, you don't see it.
Yeah. Like you witnessed it. The first thing I did was tell Ben a couple of jokes right before I pressed record so I could get him to laugh. And like, he'll do the same to me on Tuesdays because he's the one that does the recording. We take turns.
Well, that's a little bit different because we have so much fun in the pre-show, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start recording now, and then I always get you as you go to scroll into the next thing. So yeah, but as for the visual aspect, yeah, I consume a crap ton of Upland related content or Metaverse, or just even a whole bunch of other content via podcast form. I listen to all of that on headphones usually if I'm out doing yard work or whatever. I very rarely get the time to sit down and actually watch something on YouTube. I'll be listening to it on YouTube, but it'll just be playing through the audio only. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that aspect of things. But yeah, no, that's really cool to hear that.
So yeah, so the official, as far as the way it's gonna fall or be be downloadable, that'll be coming out here again. Listen to a live show, you'll hear it. Also, I'll be working on getting that put in places where people can find that information. What the name is going to be or how it's going to be pulled up. The name is going to be the Nightly Cafe Show. So that I'm no offense to Uplando, but I don't just stamp my name on everything. Bloop. But I like the Whine and Cheese Show. I like the Whine and Cheese Show, but I mean, it's not the BEN68 and Morecheese Show. So, the idea that it's more open for everybody, and we'll see how things go from there.
Ben came up with the name. I think it's an awesome name.
Oh, it's so cute. No. Like I said, it's not your names. It's meant to be fun, and it's more indicative of the content than it is of the person generating it. So I love it.
Yes. I was going to say something, but I forgot.
Because they can do that.
What was I going to say? I forget. Yeah. Anyway, looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So are we going to see another new UCN member? You applied for UCN?
No. So, and again, this is not like a blow to the UCN, but I like the idea that you can be independent. And
I say that to Cheese all the time. I like that we're kind of outside the system. I mean, we've got our toe dipped in there a little bit, but not really.
Yeah.
You don't have any mod authority. You're not an authority of the team. You're not doing anything on the team's behalf. You're just tied enough that the team can give you information.
But don't you have to be a mod in order to host a show?
Not if you have mods.
That's a lot of
it's a lot. It is a lot. So
tricky.
It is tricky. I've already worked out the mod stuff. But yeah, I mean it is tricky because you're having somebody who's volunteering to be there just to turn a mic red, essentially, if somebody comes on and is talking to their wife or their kid or whatever, and it's an obvious decision.
Yeah, but that mod could be in the bathroom at the time. Like, there's so many things that factor in when that kind of stuff is in play. I don't know.
No.
It's what we've got here?
A failure to communicate. Sorry, go ahead.
Goldie has, what is it here? I've just Googled this. Auraphobia, the fear of gold. He doesn't want to be a gold team member. He's an auraphobe team.
Auraphobe.
He's an auraphobe.
Goldsmith is afraid of gold.
Of gold. Yeah, there you go.
Oh shoot! That you just explained my psychology all in 1 second.
I mean, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of responsibility to be a mod, and I could see why a lot of people don't want that on their shoulders. But I think if you're going to undertake something as big as this, it's just going to be better for you and the Upland team that you just bite the bullet and become a mod.
Does that give me the ban without the mod? You can do it. No, I don't. I don't know. It's a tight rope to walk where
it is.
Where I 100% want to give reverence to the team of Upland. Bad mistakes, good decisions. You give them space to be in a positive light as much as possible. But I mean, I'm also not shilling for the team either.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you dip your toe in, do you feel like you're going to naturally then want to start biting your tongue? But whereas you want to have the freedom to be critical for critical sake.
He does that anyway. Remember
I think he's very
nose in the beginning of
well,
the show.
apparently I didn't bite my
He's
tongue enough
tactful.
today.
Yes, he got slapped a few times, and by
Yeah,
the look of that face, I think you got another one coming.
He stopped Edan from talking because he didn't want him to reveal anything by mistake.
Just
Like,
being
if that's not
tactful.
poo on your face, what is? It's like you can't have you're making up this fake thing that, oh, I don't want to be this because then I'll be seen as this. I already see you as that. I think everybody sees you as that. You might as well just
We're
calm
getting
back.
spicy.
It was like let me hold your hand at dawn so Uplando doesn't try to rake you over the coals. Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, so you're admitting it.
Well, I
So
mean,
you might as well just go ahead and eat the cake. Just eat the fucking cake, Goldie. The
Join
gold
us.
Cake.
Join us. You like gold? Yes.
Like it's just
Join-
a weird argument from you. It's like it makes no sense. There's
Well,
no
I
sense
do
to be
get it.
taken. I don't get it.
I do.
Whatever
I
you
mean-
get is I don't know.
Well, we didn't apply for
Like, all right,
UCN
so
for ages, and then I was drunk as a skunk one night and put the application in.
maybe I need to get drunk. Who knows?
like
Jeez.
see the
Shoot me
thing is,
Eddie. Shoot me Eddie's. I don't know.
we're there, but we don't
Yeah.
care about it. I don't like it's nice because we get to share our stuff directly with them.
Mhm.
Sort of
Yeah.
thing. If we were taken out, it wouldn't matter to us. And that could be the same thing with Goldie. He only is a mod that 1 hour or less in the cafe where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to be like if they're insisting that you become a mod, you might as well just do it. And I don't think it's because they want you to stay on and watch people, because most of the mods don't do that anyway. There's only one or two that really actually mod. So you're just gonna be there to make it more convenient for yourself. And like because that is a factor. Let's say somebody came on and they're talking through the beginning of your show, which is the most important because you're like kind of detailing what's going to happen. And let's say Lily went to the bathroom, or let's say Lily's husband called her because he had some great gossip for her. You're stuck listening to this person talk over you, not realizing it. It's nobody's fault. But if you had the simple power to just mute him or her, it's like, it's not a big deal in my mind. I don't know why you're making it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, we're happy and appreciative to be in the UCN. We just focus on the positives, really. I mean, there's always negatives to anything that you look at.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and we
We-
do display those. We're definitely a devil's advocate kind of show. We're not going to be all positives and rainbows, because then
well, it's wine and
I would-
cheese, isn't it?
it's wine and cheese. You complain and then you positive, you see the good points on it.
Yeah.
So maybe think about it a little more and don't make it so much about you.
And to be fair, it's never been an offer, right? Because I had the application in forever and a day ago, and what the team said was we need mods to do blank X, Y, and Z. And again, this has always been the thing, is the rub has always been you have to do X, Y, and Z to be a mod, and then the X, Y, and Z is like they essentially expect you to do a 3/4 of a day job. So,
Well, just tell them no. Just say, listen, if I get the mod, it's only going to be for that 1 hour.
Yeah.
If I'm on and I see something, I'll definitely do something, but it's only going to be for that 1 hour a night.
Yeah, I think they put a lot of those things up as just FFAs, because we've seen this with Block Explorer. When you could first apply for those, you had to have 50 Block Explorers, and that weeded out a bunch of people, and then they relaxed the thing. Yeah, we had our application in. It was several months before we heard anything back. It just came out of the blue one day, and I was like, "Oh, geez, look what just come through."
Yeah. The 50 Block Explorer things, the reason why Upland changed that is because they got gamed on it, and it was obvious they were going to get gamed.
Yeah,
they got gamed. They said 50, and so it was no longer the opportunity, or it was no longer like who wants to actually sell the Block Explorers they own. It was, how do I get 50 Block Explorers?
But you know what? good on them, good on the people who did it, because like you find a problem and then you find a solution, and that's how I see it. They found a solution, they found a way around it. You can't blame them for being smart and like, you know, finding a way. To me, that's just ingenious.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we have run very long. I don't think it beat the Uplando one we did. I think that was over 3 hours, but yes.
This year in review was great. I got to yell at Goldie. I didn't get to yell at you, Ben. That's
Got to eat a sandwich.
Well,
I got to eat a sandwich.
You complained about his shirt. Well, I don't know if it's complaint.
No,
It was,
I like his shirt.
Oh,
I'm a
Yes.
good person. I'm a good person. Really, I am.
Yes. All right. So yes, you're not going on holidays, are you, Cheese? I'm not going anywhere. So Whine and Cheese show and everything else will just continue on. Although I am going back to Japan for a full month. At the end of March, April, sometime then. So I don't know how we're going to do that, whether we take a break or whether I try and do something on the road. We'll have to wait and see.
well,
Yeah.
that's a congratulations, because it's been a couple of years since you've gone out, or several years since you've been able to go out.
9 almost.
No, that's more than several. It's awesome.
Yeah, because we moved back from Japan, and you know, it takes a year to settle in, and then after that year I started my master's degree, so that was 4 years where all of my holidays went to prac placements. And then after that we saved up for a year and we had all the tickets booked, we were ready to go back, and then COVID kicked in. So yeah, my wife hasn't seen her family for, it'll be 9 years by the time we get back. So yes, all the family over there is going to be blown away, especially when they see our kids. You know, Bodie, he's nearly as tall as me now. So when we left, he was a preppy. He was
Little
just
nugget.
a little kindy kid. So, and Kiara was still a baby. So yeah, it's going to blow them away. So really looking forward to that. I'm going to struggle, to be honest, because since we've been back, you know, I've given up alcohol and that sort of stuff, and so much of the culture over there is eating and drinking and this and that and the other thing. So yeah, I'm gonna struggle. So,
Well, have non-alcoholic stuff, beer. Have
Yeah.
you know, you lost so much weight, you did so good. Like have a month and just fucking gorge. Like just
I'm
enjoy
gonna
the
go
shit of
crazy,
your
Cheese.
yeah.
You got no idea how crazy I'm gonna go. Yes, but
Just
yeah,
have like full fun.
hopefully we'll be able to set something up so we can at least do 1 or 2, even if it's just little snippets or something. We'll see how we
Yeah.
go.
That'll be cool.
Yes. All right. Yeah. So looking forward to that, and yeah, as I said, Goldie, looking forward to what you got coming up as well.
And now I got to put in an application because Cheese tells me I have to.
Well, I mean, you know what?
I should. She tells
Wait
me
for
I
them.
should.
Wait for them to come to
Yeah.
you. If
Yeah.
they like, I'm not saying you should go to them. I think if they come to you and say, "Hey, would this be easier if you had mod stuff?" and you go, "Yeah, sure, all right." That's it. But like, if you don't want to put in the application, that's fine. Let them come to you.
You might be waiting a very long time. I think it just makes sense for the basic mechanics of your show. You want to be able to have that kind of control yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. See how we go. All right. Well, yeah, 2022 was a hell of a year, and I think it's going to be no different in 2023. I think as far as crypto in general, Cheese and I have got a bet going that Cheese reckons it's going to turn around on, what was it, January 15th? I think we're in for at least another 6 months of fuddery. We'll wait
50
and see.
UPX.
Yes. So I don't expect much to change there. Metaverse, yeah, I think that FUD will continue as long as crypto and the wider space is down, but I expect that the amount of investment that's going on, I think some of the stuff we're going to be talking about in the year to come on the Whine and Cheese show is going to really blow our minds. I think that's going to turn around and I personally think it's just going to become a monumental steam train. Like it's taken a long time to get this up and running, but once she's up and running, oh boy.
Yeah, get everything done that you need to get done now.
Yes. And yeah, Upland, I mean, how many city releases did we have this year? All the different partnerships, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, I think 2023 is going to be, I think it's going to be the year of UGC, user generated content, and the layer 2 stuff and all that sort of interesting.
Oh, and go check out that thing that Upland put out. Ben and I are on there. It's really cool.
Oh, the New Year episode. Yeah, go and check that out. All right, Cheesy.
Take us
Last
out of here.
words. Get us out of
Last
here.
words. Happy
Last
New
rights.
Year. Ooh, that kind of, look at that. All right.
Yes.
Happy New
Still haven't
Year.
made your bed.
I did. I made it. Happy New Year's from Whine and Cheese, from Thegoldsmith, from MVE UDU. Stay fresh cheese bags.
Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Eagle Empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get off the drive. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. Eagle Empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky. Eagle Empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get off the drive. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. Eagle Empire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky. Time for wine and cheese. Wine and cheese. 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 Time for wine and cheese.
Are you looking for some of that quality outdoor decor? But you got no freaking idea where to go? Oh, come on over to Samurai Aquatics and Decor for all your outdoor decor needs. Got yourself an empty plot of boring virtual real estate in the metaverse, do you? Yeah, just delete that. I'm still not ready, sorry. Got yourself an empty plot of boring virtual real estate in the metaverse, do you? Or maybe some kind of crappy ramshackle building that, I don't know, needs a bit of extra spunk to it or something. And stop mucking about and get yourself over to Samurai Aquatics Discord to see all our available stock. We've got loads of different decor to spend your pretend money on. We've got saunas to fire you up and ice baths to chew you the fudge out. Literally stock coming out of our ears. Grills, swings, seating and more. So much more. And if we don't got it, give us a buzz and we could probably make it. Get yourself on over to Samurai Aquatics at 30 Aqua Vista Way in Midtown Terrace, San Francisco, lickety split, and gorge yourself on outdoor decor.